channel where the dough don't rise. Broken bakers here with the sarcastic eyes. From Danish pastries to courtroom crime, where the spelling's a mess, but the humor's prime. Proceed defendants taking the stand, with wine moms laughing, glass in hand. Mods like Marissa and Valhalla too. Irish and whiskey keep the chat in view. It's trial tribulations with a sprinkle of wit. Chats popping off, yeah, they never quit. Jamie's got the deals and the beauty hacks. Dollar store glam keeping us on track. So come for the crime, stay for the snark. Broken bakers baking up a legal spark. Mo hops in with spicy takes. Jemima's got the docs, Farrell brings the shakes. Brandon keeps it wild, Iron Rabbit keeps it chill. Together they're the dream team, streaming the thrill. With courtroom chaos and dry witty flair, we're roasting defendants, cause life's not fair. Grab your wine, your snacks and settle in. Chat's the real star, let the fun begin. It's trials, tribulations with a sprinkle of wit. Chats popping off, yeah, they never quit. Jamie's got the deals and the beauty hacks. Dollar store glam keeping us on track. So come for the crime, stay for the snark. Broken bakers baking up a legal spark. Broken Baker streaming, so don't you miss, where courtrooms and sarcasm meet Danish bliss. Mods and chat, we're keeping it clever. True crime and dry humor now and forever.
Hello again. Welcome. Is this another trial? Yes, because the first one, the one we followed yesterday or for the last 2 days, were so boring that Marissa sent a letter threatening me that she would unalive herself on stream. So Jamie forced me to change the case. This case is West Virginia versus Natalie Cochran, a lady who is serving 11 years for a Ponzi scheme and is now charged with unaliving her husband via insulin injections. And I really liked the defense. They seem to be fighters. I like a good defense. I know a lot of people don't like defense lawyers, but I like that they didn't give two craps and were more than prepared to fight. The financial guy that was there to testify seemed very rocky and seemed like he just made up his mind that she was guilty and didn't really look at the evidence. But we just started. All of it is still fresh, new. Nothing has been proven or disproven. They don't have any gotcha evidence. They will run the case purely on circumstantial evidence. But if you're running on purely circumstantial, you better have some good circumstantial evidence. I heard a noise. Yeah, the other one was just too boring. And again, he testified he did it, and they just have to find out. I will still read up on the case and do, hopefully, Marissa. Hey, AJ Raiders, welcome. And Marissa, I didn't know that you had started the wrong stream this morning, but everything is fine. Everything is good. We are running at 200 miles a second because there's more to talk about in this case. The other one was just putting in tons of evidence, and it becomes so tedious. And especially, I've been doing 7 hours of financial crimes today before I had to come home and do my second job. So I was a little tired in my head. Hey, Palola's mom. Nice to see you as well. Hope you have a great day at work. Just realized this case in your state. Oh, interesting. Always fun when it's something local. If there was a waterbed involved, I could get with the defense. Isn't there always a waterbed? We need more waterbeds. Hello, Money G. Well, I wasn't supposed to, but the other one just was too boring, and luckily we could catch up. I will go off screen when court starts because again I didn't get to finish my dinner. But tomorrow I need some nuke food that I can just throw in the microwave. Sue's here. Whew, good thing. Oh, the lovely Gabby. Hello. Listened all morning. I think it's going to be a good case. Yeah. The defense seems prepared, and it seems like they have something because the motive put out in the opening statement was she did it because he had found out she was running a Ponzi scheme and he wanted to flip on her. But we heard he participated in spending the money. At what point would you be able to claim, well, I got a Cobra Shelby knockoff, I got 2 motorbikes, I got a snowcat or whatever it's called, I got a hangar for my helicopter, we got multiple houses, but I just thought that she won the lottery. They were co-owners of businesses. You have an obligation to monitor your income streams, I think. I fixed it. Well, it's no problem. You did the best you could do, which is way better than what I do. And I'm just lucky that you wanted to do it, or I would have been sitting for hours and still waiting in Borwell. Hey, Christine. Be here? No, be there. Your daughter was conceived on a waterbed. Oh. Oh my. Oh my. No, she's named Squishy because that's how waterbeds are. Looks like the same county as the Veterans Hospital serial people deleter. Oh, I don't know that. Hopefully they'll be back because they're supposed to be back in 3 minutes ago. Hey, Rianne, how you doing? Too much information. No, we always need to know when there's waterbeds. Hey, Yolio. Yes, it is. It's actually quite interesting to see. Again, it seems like the state did this when they looked at the evidence. Only looked at whatever they could use, and then luckily enough, it seems like her defense team is on it. Live court, as live as it can get. Still rough. What? What's rough? Where Brandon's balls end up when he's playing golf? I've heard that's why he hits it from. That was a golf joke. I don't have that many of those. Hey, Harmony. No, but the other one, when the DNA lady was talking like this, and she just sat there and talked so slowly, I thought, whew, 7 hours of financial crime and then this. No, thank you. I didn't make any yummy food. I had a frozen pizza because, again, I had 30 minutes. I have to get something done. I don't know. This is a good Christian channel. Maybe the husband knew but went to the feds hoping for a plea deal or a better deal. Maybe she found out and decided to get rid of the problem like him. No evidence that he talked to the feds. So, again, it's all speculation that he wanted to turn on it. According to the investigator we saw, he didn't know anything. He didn't talk to anyone. So far, all we have is he had no problem helping her spend the money. Maybe he could feel the noose tightening. Maybe we're gonna get to a Fed who's gonna testify that he talked to her. Maybe we're gonna find that piece of paper where it says, "Honey, let's go to the bank because just like Chandler Henderson's parents, I don't trust you." And she thought, well, let's get stabby. But no evidence so far. I'm basing everything on what we have seen so far because I have no other background knowledge because, again, I picked it up 2 hours ago. Well, I'll take care of that. You just hit your balls in the rough. Oh, thank you for joining us. Come on back. There's some slight noise changes sometimes, but can't come in. They're not coming back yet. They should have been back 7 minutes ago. My food is getting cold. Come on. You should be used to that. This is West Virginia. How it's situated, I don't know. Isn't that something with a state that didn't want to be a part of another state or something? There's some history there I can't remember. I don't know American history, but I think West Virginia didn't want to be a part of Virginia anymore, so they became their own state or something like that. I might be wrong. I'm often wrong, especially when it's American history. What do I know? That's why you have houses. Just stay inside. Yeah, we're just making up stories. West Virginia is the state that left the state that seceded from the Union that told King George to go off yourself. So they wanted to be northern when Virginia went south. Is that when it happened? Yeah, probably not the best time to dig ditches if it's a minus. I will nod in agreement and say, "Oh, I understand." I don't know anything. I just remembered there was something about it. It didn't want to be a part of the other state. But Virginia is Arlington part of DC or is that Virginia? Because Virginia starts right below DC, right? Because that was where Grant had his his plantation was. He was the leader of the Virginia Army.
All right, we continue with cross-examination, please. But first, of course, we need the jury. Do we have any matters to take up out of the presence of the jury, Mr.
Thank you.
Truman?
Could we have the equipment off again since we're still?
I didn't-
Could we have the equipment off again?
Okay.
Thanks.
I've been to Virginia then.
Any matters to take up from the defense out of the presence?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, Maria.
Bring in the jury, please.
Yeah, I know you just go over the river and because you can park at Arlington and then take the train into DC. That's easier than find a parking space in DC. It's a wonderful place. Very, very interesting. We don't do stuff like that with our military vets. We tend to forget people have been in the military, so we don't have these big. Well, it's not a celebration of death, but it's a memorializing spot you can go to when people have been offed. I really like that. And in our local cemetery, we have 18 or 20 graves from when we were fighting the Germans in 1864, because we had a big field hospital in my town. And we have a combined British-Canadian bomber crew that fell down after, I think they had been bombing Kiel in Germany. And then we have the freedom fighters are also memorialized out there. And then when my dad was the head of all the cemeteries in my city or my county, he commissioned a remembrance sculpture for everyone who has been deployed. So we do have, but it's absolutely nothing like it.
Now we continue, please, Mr. Victor.
I just have a few more questions. The TSG, who was the majority owner of it?
This lady, I think she's early 40s.
By the Secretary of State's office. It does not list a percentage ownership. It shows organizers and members. And for the TSG, the organizer was Natalie Cochran and a member was Michael Cochran.
Was there ever any document or any agreement or anything that would suggest that Natalie Cochran was the 51% majority owner and Michael Cochran was 49% minority owner, with the daily production to be his responsibility?
There are documents that indicate ownership percentage.
Okay. And that would be the percentage that you would recall from memory, 51-49.
There are financial documents wherein Natalie Cochran claimed to be 100% owner of TSG. There is one document that is a handwritten application for a financial loan where she listed herself as 51% and Michael Cochran as 49%. Otherwise, the remaining documents pertaining to financial transactions that we reviewed, she claimed to be 100% owner of TSG.
Okay. Tell us about their office. What did their office look like?
They had a storefront located on North Eisenhower Drive.
Okay. Secretaries?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Any equipment that would suggest it's a running office?
It was new in relation to his death, but there was computers in the office. There were office space.
Where was that office established?
The physical location.
Yeah, the TSG. You know.
It was purchased. The building was purchased in January 2018.
By whom?
Natalie Cochran and Michael Cochran.
Okay. And then the business was named TSG, and the front was devoted to that business, right?
The store.
The front store or whatever it was.
It had signage
Okay.
indicating the same signage and logo that were used on their website. It was the same signage that was used on the storefront.
Would you agree with me that, however, that most of the businesses was done online? Well, they didn't have a secretary. They didn't have anybody to welcome.
There was no legitimate business that was completed online or otherwise. So there was the appearance of a legitimate business.
I see.
And they were registered. That it's our belief, when this company was created, it was a good business plan. It was created legitimately, legitimate credentials, legitimate application and certification. It had the potential to be a legitimate business, but it never conducted any legitimate business.
All right. That's all I have. Thank you.
redirect Mr. Truman.
Thank you. Defendants one, please. Any what's been admitted as defendants exhibit one. That's your letter to Jeff?
Yes, it is.
Okay. April 1st of 2019. When did you open this investigation?
March 8th, I believe was when we opened it.
Did you open it as soon as Trooper Marsh talked to you about it?
No, I had two conversations with Trooper Marsh. The initial call in which he tried to explain that he had a situation he didn't know how to deal with. And he gave me some, and that was on March 8th, and he gave me some initial facts. And I said, well, I need more information. So he went back to his complainant, the local business person, who then gave him more information. And I spoke with Trooper Marsh on March 11th. It was after my discussion with him on March 11th that we started exploring the opening of the investigation into the.
So after March 11th, you'd had roughly 3 weeks before you wrote this letter. Had you done any investigation before then?
That was part of the research and investigative efforts coordinating with the special agent of the federal government.
Did you know much about the Cochran's business as of April 1st of 2019?
No, we were still collecting factual records, identifying people. We were collecting information. We made no assumptions of who was guilty or not guilty of anything. It had the appearance of a legitimate business. So that was early in the investigation. It's our responsibility to collect information as part of that investigation, and that is part of those evidence or information collecting efforts, that correspondence. Simply put, the agent asked me to request the information I was seeking from him on department letterhead, and that's why it has the superintendent's name and the letterhead of the agency.
Okay. You were soliciting assistance
Yes.
and explaining what you were going to try to accomplish.
He was a federal government special agent. These were federal government contracts. So we needed a federal resource to explore contracts down the federal database.
Your Honor, I'm
Area.
going to object as on grounds of relevancy. I think we've been through this fraud case a long time. There's nothing to do with the murder.
Any what's been admitted as defendants exhibit 3. Is that a document from the West Virginia Secretary of State?
No, it's not.
Is it a private company that printed that information?
The website is the federal registration database where you would go in and make application for federal licensing and federal registration is what that appears to be.
Well, it's a private company, isn't it? This particular website. That's not a government agency, is it? It's not a .gov.
I'm going to object to the leading nature of these questions.
Is it a .gov address?
No, sir.
With all the questions about what Michael Cochran knew and didn't know, do you have any evidence that he knew that this was a fraud being carried on?
No.
That's all the questions the state has. Thank you.
Recross, Mr. Victor.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Sir, you may step down. Thank you.
All right.
Through the trial, or do you
Yes.
move that he be excused?
Now, he's going to stay.
All right.
Thank you.
Call your next witness, Mr. Truman.
She is ascending the elevator as we speak, Jennifer Davis.
Jennifer Davis. I don't know. What do you guys think? You think he knew? I think he knew.
Time the cross was gonna take.
I thought that too, Sue. I thought that was like rule number one when you off somebody and you don't get caught, go get them cremated as quickly as possible. I mean, he's talking about a helicopter and there are all these cars, vehicles, and houses. I don't know. He just, unless he thought the business was just booming and she was really good at hiding it. It's possible. Who knows?
Corporal Fry comes back, now will the equipment come back on? Okay. We can do it, but we don't want to offend the bailiff.
Yeah, I think that too, Jess. It's possible he could have known it was a bit shady, but maybe not to the extent. But I don't know. That's just. And like there's like little things like the cremation. I find that weird if you're gonna poison someone and then if she was using insulin to poison him and then just left it in the fridge and then they said it wasn't touched, so I don't know. Yeah. Maybe he was happy the money was just coming in and he didn't really want to know the details. But if they have no evidence that he was going to the cops over it, I don't know how they can use it as a, I don't know. You better have some like, I want to hear some of these medical records. Moni G, this woman is accused of offing her husband with insulin. I mean, that's really all we know. And they kind of throwing the motive around that because they were in a Ponzi scheme she's already been convicted of.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
You may have a
So
seat
he was
right
going to
there.
tell on her, I guess.
Before you sit down, we need for you to turn on the equipment again. The helmet. Okay.
Yeah, she was already in prison for the Ponzi scheme that happened.
Could you please state your name for the record?
Jennifer Davis.
And make sure you're speaking into the microphone because I know it could be hard for the court reporter to hear. Jennifer, tell me a little bit about your immediate family. Who does that consist of?
My husband, Chris, my oldest Grant, his wife, Gabby, and our granddaughter, and my youngest, Gavin.
And is your family, well, you specifically, are you familiar with Natalie Cochran and her family?
Yes.
What, prior to now, what was your relationship like with Natalie?
We met in 2010, and, we were friends at the time. We weren't close, but we were friends. And then when my son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in 2012, we became very close.
And why did you become close at that point?
She was a certified diabetic educator. And when he was released from the hospital in December, we went to the pharmacy to pick up his medicine, and she was working. And she took us in her office, and because it was devastating, we didn't know anything about diabetes, didn't know anything about his medicine, how to dose him. And she took us in his office, showed us how to give him shots, told us things like that.
So So she provided diabetic counseling for your son.
Yes. And then for the longest time, I'm not sure how long, anytime he would eat, I would, if the carbs weren't counted, because in order to give him insulin, you'd have to count all the carbs. And if they weren't counted, on the back of a box or something, if we were just eating a plate of food, I would take a picture and text it to her. And she was very good. She knew exactly like how many carbs that there was in that meal and how much, dosage to give him.
So it sounds like you all ultimately became pretty close. Is
Yes.
that fair?
Yes, we're very close. Yes.
Were you also, outside of Gavin's diabetes, were you also friends?
Yes. Yes, we were.
Did you go over to the Cochran's house?
Yes, we went to each other's house. We went to the movies together. We went to eat. We went to sporting events together. So yeah.
Were your and Natalie's husbands also friends?
Yes, they were friends.
Would you consider them close friends?
Yes.
In the times that you went over to the Cochran's house, did you ever take your kids with you?
Yes.
Did you ever ask Natalie to keep any sort of diabetic supplies handy for Gavin?
No, there was never any need to,
And why was there not a need to?
because we had that at our house and they lived close enough that she didn't need anything.
Okay. Did you and Natalie share a lot of personal details about your lives when you were friends?
I mean, I think so. Yeah,
Would you say that you shared both good and bad experiences?
for sure. Yes.
Okay. Do you recall any negative experiences that Natalie might have shared with you about her husband?
They would argue just like any typical,
Like anyone else?
Yes. Yeah. Like, me and my husband would argue. They would argue. Yeah.
Just very briefly, I want to touch on something, and we won't spend much time on this, I promise. You're familiar with the Cochran's business, TSG, Tactical Solutions Group?
Yes.
Did you and your husband invest any money with them?
Yes. It was my husband and two of his partners,
Okay, but none of
business
your
partners.
personal money, it was him and his
Correct.
business partners?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Now I want to go ahead and move on to the date that we all know Michael fell ill for the last time, and that's February 6th of 2019.
Okay.
And Your Honor, at this time, I would like to have this marked as State's Exhibit 2, I believe it is. It's just the text messages between Natalie and Jennifer.
Is it two?
Yes, it's 2.
All right, very well.
I'm going to be attempting to use the projector, so if everybody could just bear with me while I do my
We'll
best.
be
to
very
figure it out. I may need the bailiff's help, actually.
Who's the goth chick?
The goth chick.
Jennifer, I'm gonna, if it's okay with the judge, I'm gonna approach you before I put these on the projector.
Oh,
Okay.
the new,
You may proceed.
the
Thank you, Judge.
other attorney.
I'm gonna take this back.
Who's on the stand?
Okay. Jennifer, can you just
It's
briefly
her,
review
it's
what
the neighbor that
happened
has the
when
son
what
with the
that looks like?
diabetes.
Thank you.
Their text between me and Natalie on February the 6th.
And is that how they would have appeared when they were on your phone?
Yes.
Do they appear to have been altered in any way?
No, and they're still on my phone. I don't
Tell us
delete or
what camera
erase
attention.
anything, so they would still be there today.
So these text messages still look exactly the same as they do on your phone today?
Yes, correct.
What year are we talking about, please?
Oh, 2019.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
No, this is a jury trial.
We don't know what he did. That's what we're here to find out. So yeah,
I don't think he like, if he did anything, he did it on purpose. If,
no,
you know,
I'm just saying that the insulin could. It's a well-known performance-enhancing thing in the bodybuilding world. If he was a big bodybuilder, insulin is well known because it helps you fill up your glucose deposits, which makes your muscle growth bigger. So it could be an accidental overdose of insulin. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just someone asked why you would use insulin. It's to force more glucose into the cells. So a late husband would go into the cops. We don't know. And she was convicted of fraud after her husband's unaliving. Yes.
they said they didn't have any evidence that he was even going to cops. So far, no.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
claimed they had a meeting set up with the bank that she canceled. And why did she do that? That was very convenient. And then he went into a coma later.
Mhm.
That's all the evidence that he was going to rat on her. It's kind of like the Charles Henderson dad was going to call the college. So well, don't do it, please, because it also it's that, and HGH has been linked to the bubble gut that a lot of bodybuilders have these days. That's why bodybuilders have the big belly instead of back in Arnold's days where they had the tapered waist. A lot of them today is just too massive, but that's a lot of people think that could be the insulin and the human growth hormone they take.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have a really, really good chat. We should have more people in here. We're only 88 people. That's not enough, Jamie.
I know.
Jamie, go out on
Go
the
bring-
streets and force some people in here.
Come on, everybody, go bring your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends about us. We will give you all the tips to how to be a better bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Court trials, we don't know anything about.
Yeah, we don't know about
With
these court
Natalie
trials.
having these conversations.
Because that was our text stream that we had since forever, for years.
Rhonda, could you speak a little louder? I'm having trouble hearing her.
So do
All
I.
right, if you could speak a little
I'm
louder,
sorry.
you can pull that microphone closer. And I think
The neighbor who had the insulin.
Yes. I had the son that had the diabetes, and she was friends with her. So
Yeah, and allegedly gave her the insulin. Nothing is wrong with having a thick downward wall. And I also have the distended, even yeah, I'm fat, but I also have the distended midriff, but or the distended midsection. I don't know what that part is called in English, but the problem is these modern bodybuilders just look like they're super fat when they're not sucking in their guts.
Yes. Okay.
No, there's like 5 people covering it.
I'm gonna actually do the same.
Okay.
Okay, Jennifer, I'm gonna display some of these text messages between you and Natalie on the
Okay.
projector. And if you could just read these off to me and to the jury when I put them up here,
Okay.
okay?
Some
And I'm not gonna put all of them up here, I
ketamine,
promise.
stuff like
Okay.
that.
Judge, before we do that, maybe we approach on this one. This is
Yeah.
Maybe I push on this one. I can still see him say, "Where are the Germans?"
I know. Oh God, he's so adorable.
Rachel K. I was googling or YouTubing the name, and I saw some channels I know and some channels I've never seen before. No, I don't inject anything. That's why I'm fat. That's why when people say, "Oh, you have massive legs. What are you using?" And I said, the first thing I would be using, if anything, was something to lose all my weight. Wouldn't be that fat. Imagine how ripped I could be if I wasn't fat. I had a guy come over to me once in the gym and say, "Oh my God, with those weights, you would be so ripped if you weren't that fat." And I was just
Did he
looking at him.
really?
Yeah, and I looked at him and said, "And you would sound really really smart if you didn't open your mouth." And it's just something I said. Yeah, go F yourself. Yeah, sometimes YouTube doesn't like me. I think YouTube has been doing something again because I lost a lot of
Yes.
subscribers.
Can you just explain to me what's going on in this conversation?
Is there any way we can tighten that up a little bit? I'm not sure the jury can read it. Are you folks having a hard time reading?
Yeah, we
Let me
have.
see it. You have better eyes than I do.
I know, standing right in front of it. Okay. Can you just explain what's going on in that conversation?
Yes, she said that her and Mike, they were both sick, and I think they had the flu or the norovirus, is what we were told, either before or after. And she had to start taking small insulin shots. I'm going to have to order a vial. I know she said that the flu and the norovirus had hit her hard and made her more sick because of the cancer that she had. So then I had asked her if she was going to the cancer center or Dr. Halsey. And then I volunteered a vial of insulin if she needed it. And she went to Halsey today.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. The document speaks for itself.
I can ask a different question, Your Honor.
Okay, I think that's a fair objection. Ms. Acorn, maybe you can ask her some questions.
So Jennifer, at this point, you were offering to help out a friend in need. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And I'm going to remove that sheet. Jennifer, just looking over this one, did she accept your offer?
£5, that's impressive.
Yes, she did. She asked if she could borrow a vial of insulin.
Did you provide that insulin to her?
I didn't personally. I was running late. I was going to the church's mission center that day, and I had put together a few drinks, and I put the insulin in a bag and gave it to my husband, and he dropped it off on the porch on the way to work.
What sort of insulin did you put in that bag, if you remember?
It was Humalog. That's what my son takes, is Humalog.
Was it a new bottle?
Yes.
Did you require a prescription to get that particular type of insulin or no?
Yes. No, you have to have a prescription for that.
You didn't send any needles over with it though?
No.
If you'll just bear with me for a second here. You guys had a lot of conversations. Okay, let's take a look at this one. So, did you understand what Natalie was talking about when she made this statement that Mike was so mad about not being able to go somewhere? He had to take 2 of the blood pressure pills. Do you know where they were supposed to be going?
They were going to Virginia.
I'm going to object. This may be based on hearsay.
We won't know this based on hearsay until she responds.
Well, then we need to establish the foundation whether it's based on hearsay.
All
or
right,
not.
maybe you could establish a little foundation. Ms. Acorn.
Did you have any conversations with Natalie previously about where they were to be going that day?
Yes, they were borrowing our plane to fly to Virginia.
And that was a conversation that you and she directly had.
Borrowing a plane? I want to move to America.
Borrowing a plane? Is that what she said?
Yeah, they're going to borrow our plane and fly to Virginia.
Well, you know, they're living high on that hog.
One in chat if you have your own plane.
Not that you heard from someone else.
Correct.
Well, he had a helicopter.
Yeah, he was really good this morning. Now it's crap again. Jamie, is it illegal to give out prescribed drugs to someone else who's not prescribed the drug?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So she should actually be pleading the fifth.
I mean, people do it all the time, but yes, it's illegal.
Yeah.
Okay. Jennifer, can you tell me who that's a picture of?
Mike.
That's Mike. And Natalie sent you that photograph?
Yes.
Did she provide any context for that? Did she call you or anything? Or is this, you
No.
just received this out of the blue?
Just that.
What did this picture mean to you when you received it?
I mean, just,
Judge, I'm going to object to
This form of question.
I think it's fair. I'm not going to overrule the objection. The witness can answer.
just that it was just shocking that he was laying there.
But you didn't know what his condition was at that point. Is that
No,
fair?
no.
Do you know what these numbers mean that are featured in the below text message from Natalie? Or did you know at the time what they meant?
She was just giving his vitals.
Now, at this point, your husband had already dropped off the bag of
The
insulin.
prosecutor is testifying, Your Honor.
Yes,
Some of the
if you could
facts do not
rephrase
really
the
have-
question.
Sure you are.
I don't. I know I am a big non-believer in body language, but and I always say, because people, especially in the Can Reed case, says, "Well, she looks too happy. She looks too mad. She looks too blah," but she does kind of have a smug face.
I mean, people notice that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and a smug
But it
face
doesn't-
is having an angry face is better than having a smug face.
Mhm. Yeah, she said, wait, Lindsay said just tuning in what, or if there's that photo. There was a state testimony that when he passed out that day or whatever, she took a picture and sent it to a couple people.
Yeah,
And
I
was like-
think this lady works in healthcare, and she sent her the vitals.
Yeah, so this is the first lady testifying that got the picture, I guess.
Yeah.
So they probably will have more.
No, she doesn't have RBF. RBF is more like Jamie when I say
Whatever.
let's stream the Jason Chen case instead.
Had Chris already gone by their house at that point in time?
He went there that morning.
Had you been by their house at any point that day?
I did later to drop off more drinks.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact time, but it was after that picture.
Now, I'm gonna put that same screenshot back on.
Yes, she's the first lady.
One of those readings says BG 145. What is that reading?
Judge, again, unless we establish that the witness has some type of knowledge.
Your Honor, I believe we've established that the witness has some type of knowledge about what that could mean, because once she answers, I believe we'll know that her son, being a diabetic, gives her that knowledge herself.
Perhaps you could ask her if she does have that knowledge.
Jennifer, do you have knowledge of what the BG stands for in that set of vitals that you spoke about earlier?
Yes, BG is blood sugar. We would always refer to Gavin's blood sugar as BG or BS. It was always one or the other.
And not speaking about Michael, but speaking about your general experience with diabetes.
They claimed they were sick that day, so she was asking if she could borrow some Diet Coke and I think some Dr. Pepper, but I'm not sure it was Dr. Pepper. I read it on the text before.
With your son. What does that number mean to you?
That is high. That is for a non-diabetic or even a diabetic, it's 80 to 120 is a normal range. So 145 is a high blood sugar.
And you just know that because your son's diabetic, is that right?
Correct.
I couldn't read it.
What was this blood sugar?
128, I
Did
think.
Ms. Cochran ever provide you with the reason that she sent you that photograph?
No. No.
Did she explain to you what she believed had happened to Michael to put him in that position?
Later on said that he was sick and he threw up in the sink and collapsed or passed out.
Did you ever visit the house after that point in time on that date?
Like I said earlier, I had dropped off drinks, but I don't remember what time that was. And I didn't go inside.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, because I have a family member who's severely diabetic
Natalie tell
and
you if she had called for help or anything?
he's been in
of
like
that
the
nature?
200s.
Did she tell you if she'd contacted anyone else?
She had said that Stephanie and John Hamilton were coming by. And then the contractors were the ones that actually got him from the kitchen to the couch.
Now, I know you ultimately didn't go to the house that day. Did your husband go that you're aware of?
Yes, he went that evening.
And then after that, do you know what happened to Michael?
Once Chris got there, and I don't remember the time, sometime between 7 and 8, I'm not sure, that night, he took him to the hospital.
Objection.
That's right.
That's hearsay.
Pardon?
That's hearsay.
Overruled. Go ahead.
And she was in lack of personal knowledge, that's enough.
I'll overrule the objection. Continue. Davis. You may have to rephrase the question or ask it again.
I believe the question was, do you have any knowledge of what happened to Michael after the time that your husband had arrived at the house?
My husband took him to Raleigh General, and we were texting. He had called me to let me know that.
Please note my continuing objection to any type of hearsay or statements by any other third party.
All right. Do we anticipate that Mr. Davis will testify in this trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, with that understanding, I'm going to allow it. Go ahead, Ms. Davis.
They took him to Raleigh General, and I'm not sure how long he was there, but he was on a ventilator quite soon from the time he got there, and then they ended up transporting him to CMC that night.
And do these text messages support your recollection of how that went?
Yes.
And in fact, Ms. Cochran herself advised you that he was put on a bench?
Correct.
Now, while all of this was going on, did you all have an event that was going to be happening with the Shady Spring Youth?
She claims he did, or the opening statement claims he didn't want to go to the hospital. He had been hospitalized 4 times the year before. And opening statement claimed he didn't want to go to the hospital. Again,
Yeah.
I know people who don't want to go to the hospital because people die at hospitals.
Yeah. I have somebody in my life very close to me that you have to fight him. He could have a limb hanging off himself and he will still argue. So it's not, there are people out there that are that crazy.
Yeah. To be sure, to be sure. No, but it is, again, we don't know how this guy was, and all of us, we will sit here with but so will the jury think that's just weird. Why wouldn't, if he's passed out on the floor? But I had a buddy of mine who said to his wife, I'm feeling weird. And she was like, yeah, it's because my mom's coming over and you don't like her and you're just acting up. He said, no, I think I'll just go up and nap for half an hour. He woke up when the paramedics rolled him into to the escalator at the hospital. He had a heart attack. And he was mid-30s when it happened. And he just felt weird and he just wanted to go to bed. Had he gone to bed and said, yeah, I'll come back down later. And this woman and her mom had just yacked, gotten frolicking like women do, he would have been dead. Luckily enough, he apparently just crashed right as he said, I'm going to bed. He didn't remember anything. And they found out he had massive clots in his arteries because of a natural high cholesterol.
Mm-hmm.
And again, 35 years old, nothing in any history of anything. And they found out he had high cholesterol and could have keeled over. So again, sometimes you don't go to the hospital because maybe you have had a bad experience with hospitals. My dad was in the hospital for 10 days during the first lockdowns. And when he started having the same problems, by rationalizing later when he started getting really bad, I think he just wanted to go and didn't tell us. Mm-hmm. So, because the same symptoms that he responded to the first time, he just totally neglected the second time. And in hindsight, I'm thinking I should have forced him to go to the hospital because when I finally got him to go to the doctor, he passed away in my arms on the entryway to the doctors. So I'm living with that internal guilt that why didn't I make him go to the doctor the day before? Not that it would have helped because he was going anyway, but and I think he wanted to go, but you never know how people act.
Yes, the middle school baseball was having a bingo with the high school volleyball, Shady, for a fundraiser that Saturday evening.
And Lolita had a good, I thought that
You
was
and Ms.
interesting.
Cochran discussed that
Like,
while Mike was in the
why would
hospital?
she be
Yes,
texting
she was,
everybody
working on
if
getting
she
everything
did
together.
something like this? I
And,
mean, that's kind of a
Yeah.
good question. Like, if she did this, she could have just like
I mean, she was,
said nothing
organizing
to
it, so
nobody and just let him pass away at home.
Yeah. She could have instead of sending her a picture and talking about his blood sugar, she could just have rolled him into the hallway. She had an alibi, said she was sick, and said, "Well, I was upstairs sleeping in my bed, came down, found him like this,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
he was in a
there's so
coma."
many different things. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's interesting to think that way, you know.
yeah. But that's the good thing about watching trials together with people. We can all have our differing opinions, and Jamie will yell at each and everyone who doesn't agree with her.
You better
we're still
agree.
working on it.
How did, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find a good way to phrase this. Did you find it odd at all that she continued to work on bingo while her husband was incapacitated?
Judge, I'm going to object to that. That's a comment on the defendant's character.
Okay.
Could be.
This comment, I hope the swelling affects the mean side of his brain and the rest stays good. What did you take that to mean? What did that mean to you?
Now, Your Honor, now we're entering the area of medical knowledge. This witness is not qualified to interpret this medical information.
Your Honor, I don't believe we're entering the area of medical knowledge. She's simply talking about the decedent being mean.
I think so too. I don't think this has any relation. at all
Fine. It's
to
fine. He wanted to go.
Terms or knowledge. I'll overrule the objection and permit the witness to testify.
I think as much as I like Colonel Klink, he needs to calm down a little bit with all of these objections.
It kind of gets real feisty.
Yeah.
Just
Well, it was something golden, maybe golden showers.
that, the mean side of his brain where, if he would get grouchy or, get mad, that's how I took that.
But there's nothing about Michael that stood out to you as particularly more mean than any other person?
No.
This was a little blurry, so forgive me. But if you can tell me, Jennifer, what is that photo of?
Jeebus.
That's at Raleigh General when they're working on Mike.
And that photo also came from Natalie?
Correct.
That very first text message, Jennifer, if you could just read that to yourself for me. Do you have any personal knowledge of what sort of meds Natalie's talking about at this point, about getting Mike off of?
He would take supplements for working out, like the kind you get at GNC or whatever. Like that was my knowledge. Pre-workout, things like that.
Hi, Food Fairy. Good to see you.
My dad looked just like me. So much that I had to grow my beard out there because my daughters didn't like looking at me with just a goatee because he had that.
What's that photograph?
No, I used to have it, and then I shaved the sides off, and we were going to a birthday at my brother's place, and I was meeting the kids, and my youngest daughter just looked at me and said, "No, you get a
She said
beard
no.
because you look too much." She was the granddad's girl, so she said, "You don't do that. You grow it out because you look too much like him now."
Once again, Mike, I believe that's it, Raleigh General.
Now, this question, I'm not
Say
asking you
hello
to speculate at all.
to the
I'm
bad
asking you for
guy.
personal knowledge, given that your son's
Okay.
BG
Hey,
is
Lefty.
44. If your son's blood glucose is 44,
It's Razor Ramon.
what would you expect to see?
If he wasn't already in a coma at 44, he would be very close to it. Anytime he had low blood sugar, he would get sweaty, clammy. His legs would get weak. When it was super low, it would even start going into his arms. He couldn't feel his arms.
Oh,
Now, while all this was going on, were you also handling all of the bingo organization for Natalie at home?
I was helping. I wasn't in charge of anything, but I was trying to help and do what I could.
Did you get to go up and visit Michael at any point while he was at the AMC?
Yes, we went every day.
And did you see him awake at any point while you were there?
No, he was never awake.
What was Ms. Cochran's demeanor like while you were there?
Going to object to that.
Oh,
She was very calm. She was in, just in control. I felt that she was strong. She was.
Did they say something different
I mean,
again?
I guess
Sorry,
normal,
did I miss
as
that?
normal as you can be.
I don't know.
Because I remember in the opening, they said
What sort of
it
conditions
dropped
did you
down
saw?
to like 20.
He was intubated. He was non-responsive. He just laid there.
And then shortly after that, he was moved to hospice, is that right?
Correct.
Did you ever get to see him while he was there?
Yes.
Did you speak with Natalie a lot while you all were visiting Mike at hospice?
Yes, we did. We spoke often.
And did you offer to help?
KDP says, my dad was not good at going to the doctors either. He found out he was diabetic when he went from a simple surgery on his knee. He ended up passing away not too long later from a heart attack at 55. Yeah, I'm sorry, but it's a thing we men, we don't really think about it. I'll be fine tomorrow. We don't, but it's because we are annoyed when people go to the doctor all the time. So, but we should be better listening. My former sister-in-law called me one day out of the blue while I was actually at my last city hall meeting. Said, "Oh, by the way, just wanted to inform you, your brother is in the hospital. He had a blood clot in his leg." My brother has always been working out and taking care of himself. Just and he must have been 48 at that time. So it's long discrepancy between my brother and I. So because I'm becoming 27 in 2 weeks. But yeah, we men probably should go a little more than we do.
Offer at any point?
Yes. I tried, I was trying to be there for her and just comfort her. Like I said, I felt that she was been strong. But, I had even asked her at one point if there was anything that I could do to help her, anything I could get for her. And she had made a very just an odd comment. She said, if you could help me hold a pillow over his face, because I don't like seeing him this way.
And at hospice, is that the last time that you ever saw Michael alive?
Yes.
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Oh, boy.
Cross-examination.
Come
No
on,
time for
Mr.
jokes.
Spicchio.
Ms. Davis,
No time for
first I want to
pillows
ask you
over
about
face jokes.
the losses that your husband's company sustained as a result of this fraud. What were your losses?
It was with him and his business partners, so it wasn't any personal loss of ours. He was a third.
Well, let me ask you about your husband and his partners. How much did they lose?
They lost over $500,000.
$500,000.
I'm being 27 next this month.
Your husband at some point was Natalie Cochran's attorney. Right?
He would have to answer that, but yes.
Well, do you know or not?
Well, yes, he did.
Okay. And yet, after he and his company lost over $500,000, he testified against her in federal court, didn't he?
Correct.
Okay. Her own attorney.
He was not representing her at that time.
Okay. Okay. And let's talk about this Humalog for a second. You know that there are two types of insulin. One is Novolog and one is Humalog, right?
Correct.
And you know that because your son, very sadly, is afflicted with diabetes 1, as we call it, right?
Yes.
Which is
Type 1.
a very serious problem.
Yes.
Well, Novolog, you cannot get over the counter, true?
You cannot get it over the counter.
But Humalog, you can.
Humalog, you can't. That's a prescription.
You cannot?
You cannot. It's a prescription.
And so if there was any testimony here that you can, of course, that would be incorrect in your mind.
Right.
I see. All right. Now, you, of course, do not know. Well, let's try that. Is your testimony here today that Natalie Cochran never had any medication for your son?
She is the wife of. She is accused of murdering her husband, according to the state, because she ran a Ponzi scheme. She's serving 11 years for a Ponzi scheme. And the state claims she unalived him because he was about to blow the whistle on her. So that's going to be the interesting. They don't have to prove motive, but they kind of implied that they could. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm. They said all their
Yeah.
evidence is circumstantial, so
Yeah, and no hard evidence. All of it is circumstantial. Yeah, I'll be 27 years this year. It's going to be rough for me.
Correct.
He's Polish.
Did you, in fact, allow her to pick up the medication for your son from the pharmacies?
Yes, she would pick up medicine and then drop it off at the house.
I'm going to ask you again whether she was allowed
Not guilty. Okay.
to have the medication.
That can't be right because he just said this lady's husband testified against her.
In her possession for your son.
Yes, but she
Why did people buy Hack 2A coins? Get rich quick schemes.
did not take it home with her.
Yes or no, ma'am?
Yes.
All right. I like to. I have to mark this. Defense exhibit. Number 8. Number 8.
Thank you.
I may approach the witness.
For Danish people, doesn't he look a little bit like Erich Honecker, if you're old enough to remember the German chancellor?
I'm gonna hand you what's been marked, the defendant's exhibit number 8, and ask you whether you would recognize this document.
Yes, I've never seen it before, but
What would this document be, ma'am?
it's showing the doctor that prescribed Gavin his insulin.
Would you turn to page 2? I'm sorry, page 3. Who was picking up that medication for?
Natalie.
All right. I'm going to ask that this exhibit be admitted into the evidence.
Any objection, Mr. Truman?
No, Your Honor.
Or Ms. Akers, I'm sorry. It is admitted into evidence.
How many times has Natalie Cochran picked up medication for your son, ma'am?
I'm not sure how many times.
Numerous times. Would
Yeah.
it be fair to say?
Yes, I would say yes, several times.
And was always a Humalog, right?
No, she wasn't a pharmacist. She's trained as a pharmacist. She and her husband were running their own business. It's I know it's a little hard to keep up sometimes, but
wait, I thought they
she's-
said she was a pharmacist.
No, she is a pharmacist. I'm a baker. I don't work as a baker, but I will be a baker till the day I die. Just like Jamie will be a beauty queen until the day she dies. But she had her own business with her husband. I don't think she worked as a pharmacist.
Well, she worked a little bit as a pharmacist because the lady said she saw her at the pharmacy. But then when they started this Ponzi business, then I think she took
Yeah.
bribes.
So
Yeah.
she wasn't pharmacist when it happened.
Yeah.
Not always.
Not always.
No, because he had other prescriptions.
Okay. Have you ever injected Humalog into your son's body?
Yes,
Humulong
What
is
dosage?
insulin.
Vial?
It's a type of insulin.
it was from the vial. I don't remember what dosages because it would all depend on what he ate. So
Okay.
I don't know. Like I can't say right off.
Okay. Let's. Were there any times that you would inject the whole vial into his body?
Oh, never. No.
Never?
No.
Half a vial?
No. Just
No.
very little.
Very little.
Yes, like a millimeter, or it just like I said, it depended on the dosage.
And every time you injected the vial into his body, he didn't drop unconscious on the floor, did he?
No, but several times I had actually dosed him too much insulin, and he got to the point where he would almost pass out. His blood sugar would drop below.
This is actually good for the defense. So you could mistake the amount you should do and then overdo it.
Maybe.
And we were able to give him a glucagon, which would bring his blood sugar back up.
Hey,
But I
Wendy.
asked you whether ever,
No, we just didn't want to watch the trial because it was so effing boring.
ever,
Yeah.
on your
So
injection of
boring.
Humalog into his body, he lost consciousness and dropped
No,
either on the floor or anywhere.
no,
No. Now, would you agree with me that you're not a doctor, right?
correct.
You're not an endocrinologist.
No,
Right? You're not an expert in this field. All you can tell this jury about medication involving diabetes is from what you observed as the mother of an ill child, right?
Right.
Okay. Would you agree with me, ma'am, that different bodies, different human bodies react differently to medication?
yes,
So you have absolutely no idea how Michael Cochran reacted and to what medication.
correct.
I want to ask you now about Michael a little bit. You've known this family since 2010 until, well, 2019, I presume.
Correct.
Michael, you said, was taking steroids, right?
I never said that.
Well, what did he take?
I always knew him to take the supplements that you would get from GNC and over the counter, but I never knew him to take actual steroids.
You have absolutely no clue what this gentleman was taking.
Only what Natalie had told me.
Right.
Usually people don't take
And
steroids in front of
Did
you.
you ever see him take any medication?
No,
No.
They quick too much, and I'll have to sit like this the entire time and look like I'm a governor of California.
Mm.
Ruin my reputation. I go to the gym instead.
He was a bodybuilder, wasn't he?
yes, he lifted weights.
Cared about his image of his physique, right?
Yes,
In fact, he was taking substances that were less than kosher. Did you know about that?
no, I did not.
Did you know that he was taking substances that were sold online from Mexico or some other wild place?
I did not until the day that he fell ill. She had said that was taking Mexican supplements, but I didn't know that until the day he fell ill when she had texted.
Well, that's strange. Now, did you ever talk to your husband about Michael taking any supplements?
I mean, yeah, he knew that he took supplements as well.
Now, didn't your husband try to dissuade Michael from taking all that stuff?
Yes, that was after Mike was diagnosed with seizures,
Right.
and he
So
talked
Mike-
about not taking the medicine.
So Michael had some medical problems, didn't he?
Yes,
Well, let's start with 2017. He had a back problem and had to go to hospital for back surgery, right?
yes, I believe.
That may not have had anything to do with seizures, but in October of 2018, he went to the hospital with the conditions that were similar to when he collapsed on the floor, didn't he?
Yes,
Okay. What was the diagnosis then on him?
Objection, Your Honor. How was she said to have that information?
Sustained.
Did you talk to him after he came out of the hospital in one day?
yes, we would have spoke. Yes,
Did he tell
Funny, they said seizures. I remember I read something about it. There is anabolic andronic steroids. It's test, but side effects are diverse from subtle mood disturbances to multiple organ failure. In addition, AAS is often used by bodybuilders with other drugs like insulin, diuretics, and thyroxine. Can also participate in medical emergencies, including seizures. So again, if they're going with the bodybuilder angle, there is evidence out there that it could potentially be stuff like that caused it.
you that he hated hospitals with an unbridled passion and would never go back to a hospital?
I knew his disdain for hospitals. Yes,
And then he wasn't unlucky because on the second day of November of that year, he went to the hospital with the same conditions that similar conditions or maybe even the same conditions that he had when he collapsed on the floor. Didn't he?
yes,
and stayed in the hospital for 4 or 5 days, right?
I don't remember the exact time.
No? Do you know what was wrong with him?
I don't know if it was at that time that we were told that he was diagnosed with seizures.
Seizures. Did you also hear anything about his brain swelling?
I know they had done MRIs and CAT scans, but I don't remember if it was the November visit or the October visit.
Well, did they say anything about his having a mass on the brain?
I remember they said something about having a mass on the brain, but then the next scan showed that there wasn't anything.
But then they said that he had brain.
You haven't heard from the
brain
medical
swelling,
examiner.
right?
I don't know.
You don't know.
No.
What did he appear to you like when he was in the hospital at that time? Sluggish, slow reacting. Tell us.
I mean, by the time that I had seen him, he was talking and everything. I mean, he wasn't feeling well, but I didn't see him right away. So
All right. In February of next year, so it's almost 2 months later, did he appear to you to be sick?
he wasn't sick. No, not
No?
until the day.
No, he wasn't sick until that date, until the 6th of February.
Right, that I'm aware of.
Okay. When did you see him last before the February 6th?
I don't know if it would have been the day before or a couple of days before that, because he came over and put a ceiling fan in our living room. But I don't know the date of that exactly. But it was a few days before.
If there were other people who saw him acting very strange and sick and otherwise almost incapacitated, would that surprise you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, you have absolutely no idea what Michael took in terms of the names of the medications or the supplements or whatever medication he was taking.
I do not know.
Do you know how long he has been taking these supplements?
No.
Have you ever talked to Natalie's children about Michael's use of steroids, anabolics, whatever he was using?
I don't remember if we did.
Okay. Well, they were there all day in their home. They would know, wouldn't they?
They would know. I wasn't there though, so
Okay.
that wasn't anything I discussed with them.
Okay. Did you ever ask Michael what he was taking?
No.
Well, did you know that he was eating these medications by a plateful?
No, I did not.
Did you know that he was using insulin regularly on a regular basis?
No, I did not.
I find this, again, maybe it's because I'm Danish. We don't like our neighbors. They should just stay in their own house and we will stay in our house. But I don't know what medication my siblings take. Why should I know what medication my neighbors take? I know he's dying from cancer, but I don't know what medicine he takes.
Mm-hmm.
Such a weird thing that, and if anyone would call my kids and say, hey, the fatso back home, did you know he's taking vitamins and magnesium and D vitamin because of winter depression? They would probably say, how did you get my number? So weird that everyone talks to everyone and knows everything about everyone. And of course, if your kid were diabetic and you were helping or they were picking up meds for you, you would know. But if I was roiding, I wouldn't tell my neighbor, hey, by the way, I'm on a cycle, so if you hear me throw the wife against the wall, it's just because of a little roid rage. So keep it down, please.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like people overshare nowadays, but I definitely don't overshare and I don't get into other people's business. I couldn't tell you what my parents take, what my sister takes, anything.
Yeah. Well, Pimpinella, that's why I started doing the 1 hour breaks. Well, today is 30-minute breaks, but that's why we eat. Sadly. I don't know if it's a good enough friend that I let them borrow my airplane. I might ask him about his roids. Yeah. You wouldn't even take me to the mousetrap, so
Oh my gosh.
I won't tell you about my
You can share, Wendy, but
How many times did Natalie Cochran pick up this Humalog for your son prior to February 4th?
I don't know how many times.
How many times did she pick up that insulin Humalog after Michael's demise?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay. And if
drømmekage or dream cake is a staple for what in school you call it hour of the class. You do that in smaller classes whenever someone brings cake. Dream cake is it's like a sponge cake with a layer of coconut and like melted sugar on top. It's great. You will enjoy it.
Did she ever take that medication home? Or is it your testimony here today that invariably she would bring it to your house?
I mean, I can't say for certain. I don't know.
So if,
I would assume she would bring it straight to me because that would be something that we would need to put in the refrigerator.
so the insulin that was found in her refrigerator, that would be abnormal, wouldn't it?
She shouldn't have any of, I know my son's insulin because he needed that.
Right, but if law enforcement officers found a Humalog vial in her refrigerator, what would that tell you?
I don't know.
Right. So is it possible, Ms. Davis, that as you sit here today, you don't know how many times Natalie Cochran took that medication, that insulin, to her place, where she stored it, what she did with it?
I don't know.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't take your medicine and all that. I'm just saying, why do you tell your neighbors what you're on? That's the thing I don't get. It's kind of like my grandmas were always sitting saying, "Oh, I got the strong diuretic pill. Oh well, but I am on 2 types of blood thinner." They were battling what prescription they got.
Yeah. A lot of people do that, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah. These seems like sister wives. We tell each other everything.
They are, Wendy. Americans are nosy and we overshare.
Also, I want to ask you this. When Michael was putting up that fan in your house, he had trouble doing that, didn't he?
I don't remember him.
Yes, and this is the one who gave her the insulin they claimed was used.
My husband worked
Yeah.
on it. I just know he was there to put up the ceiling fan.
But you didn't know how he acted that day.
I don't recall.
I see. All right. My heavens. There was a time when your son used the pump, the insulin pump, right?
Correct.
Okay. Then why would
Funny story. Valhalla uses a pump too.
you need the regular Humalog if you had a pump?
Because that's what you use to fill the pump. We would have to use Humalog and inject it into his pump before we put his insulin pump on his arm.
And if the pump didn't work,
If the pump didn't work, then we would refill a new one
okay.
and put it back on him.
So is that your testimony that you always had either the pump or the insulin?
Yes, he cannot live without either.
Okay. All right. You said that you observed Natalie in the hospital while Mr. Cochran was there. And you said she acted strong.
Yes, I thought she was strong. Yes.
What other words did you use?
She was calm.
Calm. And yet she was so concerned that she didn't want to see Michael in that condition. She would rather see him dead, right?
I didn't say that.
Well, you said something about putting a pillow on his head.
I asked her what I could do to help or if there's anything I could get her.
Ah.
And she had made that comment.
Would you agree with me, ma'am, that people act very differently in situations like that?
Yes.
And people are distraught by the very fact that their loved one may be on a threshold of death, and they say things and do things that they would not normally not say or do.
Yes.
So you may find this odd, what my client may have said, but you're not a psychologist and you cannot say anything about that comment that would make you believe that she's guilty of anything.
I got myself.
Right?
Correct.
Now, when were you informed of Mr. Cochran's condition on the, what was it, the first day?
The second,
Well, in relation to the shot that he supposedly got from, well, I guess you played Natalie.
I'm sorry, what is your question?
Well, we're looking at a shot that was apparently administered to Mr. Cochran. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say that.
You didn't
I'm
say-
not sure of your question.
So you don't even know whether his condition was caused by any shot of insulin.
No, we don't know what his condition was caused by.
Okay. Well, Natalie texted you and told you that she was sick that day.
Correct.
Now, you've known her for a long time, and you knew that she had several medical conditions.
Yes, she had found out she had cancer and it was stage 3, I believe.
And she was being treated for it, or at least being diagnosed with it, or required a second opinion during that time, right?
Yes,
And she also had a heart problem that required all kinds of attention, medical attention,
yes.
correct? Now, well, since you know so much about insulin, what else can insulin be used for in a household?
In my life, it's only been used for diabetes. I don't know what else you would use it for.
Bringing the sugar up or down?
It
Perhaps.
brings your blood sugar down.
All right. So if Natalie Cochran had a problem with her sugar, not necessarily diabetes, would you find it really strange that she had diabetes in her, and that she had insulin in her home?
No.
No.
Believe the cancer is a lie. Well, I think she got treatments for it.
Did your son have to take any steroids? Was he given any steroids as part of his treatment of
For diabetes, no.
Now, do you have any medical knowledge to assess the effect of any steroids on sugar? Or would you
No,
not?
I don't have any knowledge, no.
All right. Natalie told you that day that she was taking steroids, right?
Yes,
Do you have any reason to doubt that?
no,
And that the steroids caused her sugar to rise. She told you that, right?
yes, she told me that.
And so when she used some insulin, or whether she had insulin at home, for that particular purpose, you wouldn't find it, and you wouldn't find it strange that she did.
No,
No one's talking to you?
No.
Is that what that means in Dutch?
Was Michael Cochran ever sick in your presence?
yes,
And I'm not talking about February.
She might not. I don't know. No evidence has been provided so far.
I'm talking about any other times. What
Yes.
was he sick with?
we thought, and I don't know if it was the October or November, that it was mold,
Okay.
possibly poisoning or mold
And how did
exposure.
he react?
He was sick and nauseous. I don't remember more than that.
Did you ever see him collapse?
I never saw him collapse, no.
Did you hear about him collapsing?
Not other than that day,
How about having convulsions or
No.
epilepsy?
no.
Have you ever heard him talk about not taking his medication because he didn't really care about the doctors and medical care?
Natalie had told us that he had stopped taking his seizure medication.
Well, and you, as a friend of Michael, did you ever approach him about that?
No, I did
Ever-
not.
Did anybody talk to him about it?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
I think he might have worked on something
What is your profession?
at most.
I'm
In
a
it.
stay-at-home mom.
I'm sorry. I'm so
I'm a
sorry.
stay-at-home mom.
Oh, you have the tough one. And I'm very sorry about your child having diabetes. That's this is a pretty serious illness, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Now, have you yourself participated in any business transactions with Natalie or Michael Cochran?
She would help with the juvenile diabetes fundraisers.
Okay.
She would sponsor those, and we did a motorcycle rally. She held a couple of those for him,
Mhm.
and also a 5K run for diabetes.
Did Michael live in luxury?
I mean, just normal as anyone else would,
Beautiful.
in my opinion.
Beautiful house?
Yes, they had a beautiful house.
They had more than one house, right?
Yeah, they did buy other property. Yes.
Okay. How about, well, we men call it toys. Motorcycles,
Yes.
how many did he have?
I know of one. I don't know if he had multiple. I mean, I do know of the one because he rode it in a motorcycle rally.
He has a pretty nice car too.
Yes.
What was it?
He had a truck, a pickup truck.
Didn't he have an antique 65? Very sexy car. An antique.
Yes, I don't remember the.
You don't remember the
But now it was a
Very
Cobra.
sexy
Yeah.
car.
Cobra, all right? Did you go on any vacation with them?
Yes, we did.
Who paid the bill?
Well, we would pay for our half and they would pay for their half. And
Did Michael ever treat?
yes, we would treat their meals and they would treat our meals.
Would you agree with me that he was at his absolute happiest when he had the money?
I mean, I don't know.
Was he acting?
I don't know
very
if he
happy?
was at his happiest during that time.
Okay. Would you agree with me that he was a dominant character in the marriage to Natalie?
Yeah, as my husband is as well with me.
I'm concerned about Michael and Natalie. What Michael said, that was the law, right?
I believe so.
Okay. How did he treat the children?
He treated him like any normal dad.
They had everything that they could have under the sun. He would buy them everything. They would have their own luxury life. Isn't that true?
He would buy them whatever they needed.
Okay. How about money per se? Did he ever flash the cash, so to speak?
No. I don't
Never took anybody out to eat, pay for everybody?
Well, yes, he would do that.
He would do that. Now, what do you know about Michael's business? What did he do for a living?
They were doing the government contracts.
Okay. Michael?
It was him and Natalie.
Okay. What was his role in this government contracts thing?
I don't know. I don't know his exact role.
Okay. But he talked about it?
Yes, they would talk about it.
Well, what did he tell you about?
I didn't talk personally to him.
Okay.
So
Okay.
just when we were in a setting together.
All right. I'm going to ask you about your husband ever working out with him? Or did you ever work out with him?
No. I don't know if my husband ever did.
He was trying to be a bodybuilder, or at least he was a bodybuilder, right?
During the time we knew them, he would lift weights.
Okay.
I mean, to be a professional bodybuilder, I don't know about that, but he would lift weights during the time we were friends with him.
Was he proud of his physique and
Yes.
musculature? He liked to be seen as fit and nimble and whatever else, right?
Yes.
Did he spend a lot of time in the gym? Did you know?
I don't know.
Okay. Where was their business, by the way? The contract business. Where was their office?
They had a building on Eisenhower Drive.
Okay. Describe that. Was there any front desk, secretary, office decorations? What?
I don't remember much about it. I remember there's a couch, a little kitchenette.
Not much of an office.
And then, I mean, I don't remember much about it other than that.
Okay. Now, you obviously knew that Natalie was a pharmacist, right?
Correct.
Did you know about her reputation in the community as a good pharmacist? Knowledgeable?
She was very knowledgeable.
She was very knowledgeable. She was knowledgeable of more than just insulin, right? She knew about other substances.
I believe she also took care of maybe people on cholesterol medicine, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. She had years of experience as a pharmacist, right?
Yes.
Well, that person would have knowledge of all kinds of drugs, right?
I would assume, yes.
Even those drugs that kill silently.
I don't know what she would have knowledge of.
Yeah. I want to ask you this. You were, if not the closest friend of Natalie, at least one of the closest friends. At the time of Michael's death, would that be a fair statement?
Yes.
Would it then surprise you that Natalie, who was obviously in distress over her husband's condition, would be notifying you every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes, every hour as to what his sudden condition is? Would it surprise you? Would it shock you?
Would it surprise me if she did or if she didn't?
If she did.
Either way, it wouldn't surprise me.
No, or if she didn't. Either way, it wouldn't surprise you because you were her friend
Right.
and she had her Well, by the way, do you know how long they were married?
18, 19 years, maybe.
High school, were they high school sweethearts? Do you know?
They told us they were high school sweethearts, yes.
So this woman who has just put her husband in a hospital, who may be in a coma, she needs to talk to somebody about it. And that would be you. Would that be anything shocking to you?
No,
Okay. And she didn't tell you anything that would suggest to you that she was the one who, for lack of a better phrase, executed him. Did
no.
she? If I may have a second.
All right.
What was the backup plan for your son? And I'm just gonna use the word, well, the letter G. I don't want to bring children's names into this.
His name is Grant and Gavin. Are my sons.
Okay, well, out of the respect for him, we don't necessarily want to bring him into public knowledge. But,
Right.
How old is he now?
My youngest is 19.
Okay, so he's an adult by now.
Yes.
What was the backup plan if you could not, for some reason, administer the medication to him? Then was Natalie in charge of that?
No, my husband. If I couldn't, then my
Okay.
husband would.
Was there any contact with the school where your child was attending? That if you could not be there, that Natalie would be called to administer the medication?
I don't remember that because the first year he was on shots, he didn't allow the nurse to even give him shots. I had to go to the school every day
Okay.
to give him shots. So I don't know.
Okay. If I may have a second now.
Very well.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Will you redirect be lengthy, Ms. Acorn?
No, Your Honor, it won't.
You may proceed.
Thank you. The vital signs that we talked about earlier that Natalie texted to you, were you ever able to verify that those actually were Michael's vitals at that time?
No.
Do you know who set up all of Michael's supplements and medications?
I know, well, Natalie had told me that she always, would set everything up.
Did you ever have Natalie pick up insulin for Gavin and not receive it?
Not to my knowledge, no.
And just on a personal level, have you ever had a loved one, even Gavin, who became seriously ill?
Yes.
Did it occur to you to take photographs of them while they were ill?
No.
Did it ever occur to you to attempt to end their life because they were so ill?
No.
And I know that you and Natalie were very close prior to Michael's death, and even for a little while afterwards. Was she always honest with you during that time?
Judge, I'm going to object. As a comment on the defendant's character.
I think I sustain that objection.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Anything further, Mr. Victor?
The prosecuting attorney right now asked you whether she, that is my client, Natalie Cochran, was setting up medication for her husband, and you said yes?
I don't remember if they were pill boxes or what, but his normal daily medicine, whether it was vitamins or whatever, she would always put together for him.
And you know that for a fact?
That's what she told me. So
And she would, so you presumed, I guess, that she would put up all the supplements from Mexico and from some other God only knows what place on his plate? Is that what you assumed?
just whatever she told me.
You went to the Cochran's home, right?
Correct.
Have you ever seen their medicine cabinet?
If I recall, it was, and I don't remember what was in it, it was just by the sink in a cabinet.
Would it surprise you to know that Michael had his own medicine cabinet that nobody had access to? Would it
Yes.
surprise you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's all. Thank you.
Anything further, Ms. Acorn?
No, Your Honor.
That this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any difficulties to excuse this witness, Mr. Victor?
No, Your Honor.
You may step down. Ms. Davis, you are excused. And let's go ahead and take our mid-afternoon break. We'll break for 10.
No, I don't know if it's so weird because apparently she's a stay-at-home mom to monitor her kid who has type 1 diabetes. So it's probably I have a buddy of mine whose daughter was diagnosed 2 years ago, and I know it's been hell for them to find out how to level out, because it's really hard with a smaller kid to get them stable, because they're not as good as other people to tell you when they need it. So I could understand if insulin was a big part of their life, especially if she was calling her and saying, "Hey, can you pick up a vial of this?" Or I have an order at the CVS. I think that's the name they call it in the US. Can you bring that home with you? And she said, "Sure, sure." Again, that whole insulin angle, I could excuse it with either the roids or the big C treatment. So, but again, if she didn't give him the needle, or give her the needles to use, if you have the needles, Jamie, close your innocent ears. Have you closed your ears, Jamie?
Yep, they're closed.
You could just give him an embolism with a needle of air. Yeah, they would.
Why did you not want me to know this?
Because you would use it against Irish.
It's a good idea.
But it's a way easier, and you just hide the track mark behind between the toes or something. It's why borrow your neighbor's insulin to do it? I don't know. I've just watched the trial. I know nothing about it. I'm just saying. They have to. The other case we covered, we knew he did it, and we were just discussing, could they get to first degree? In this one, we will have to go look at all the trees to determine at all the forests, just to determine there's a one tree there, and we have to believe them because there's all these other trees. This tree must also be here. In other cases, it's look at these trees and just imagine there's a forest there. I don't know. Again, I've just watched 3 hours of the case. I don't know what's up and down. I just think using insulin, is it the smartest? Well, I don't know. In the other case, I said, why are criminals so dumb? I don't know.
I don't know either.
This is a good case because we can sit and think and say, does it make sense? Insulin needles are really short, but she didn't give him an insulin needle. That's what she said, because she only gave them the vial of insulin. I'm just saying, not legal or criminal advice. No, more of the same. She couldn't really say anything. Jemima sent me her plea deal. When did she make that? Oh, that won't open. Come on. Move faster. My computer is a little overworked right now because it had to download. Where is the plea? Ms. Cochran will plead guilty to counts 6 and 18 of said indictment, which charges her with violation of 18 U.S.C. 1343 wire fraud and 18 U.S.C. 1957 unlawful monetary transaction. Following final disposition, the United States will move the court to dismiss counts 1 through 5, 7 through 17, and counts 19 to 26. Maximum of 20 years, a fine of $250,000, a term of supervised release of 3 years, a mandatory special assessment of $100, an order of restitution pursuant to 18 U.S.C. 3663 and 3664, as otherwise set forth in the plea agreement. That's for the count 6. Count 18, imprisonment for a period up to 10 years, a fine of 250,000, a term of supervised release, a total combined maximum penalty. Yeah. She took this. It was filed 20th of September 2020. So she spent 4 years in prison.
And she's getting 11 or something like that. 11.
Yeah. To forfeit all properties, Ms. Cochran's possession under her control. Ms. Cochran agrees that she has earned over 2.7 million in illicit proceeds from her fraudulent activities. She agrees not to contest the forfeiture of property listed in the indictment, as well as forfeiture money judgment in the amount of $1 million. She specifically agrees to forfeit her interest in the following pieces of property: 44,900 check for all funds within the first community bank account ending in blah, held in the name of Tactical Solutions Group. 1965 Shelby Cobra replica. A 2017 Yamaha motorcycle. 2015 Big Tex dump trailer. 2017 Yamaha motorcycle. 2018 Polaris. 6x14 AFG. Big T trailer. Yamaha Timberwolf ATV. 2017 Honda Rubicon ATV. 2 diamond hoop earrings. A Toyota 4Runner. A 2008 Dodge Ram 2500. 2014 Sundown Rancher trailer. The real property located at 2019 Eisenhower Drive. The property located at 210 Parkwood Drive. That's what she will forfeit 90,000, the amount of fraud proceeded, which was spent on mortgage payments. Authorized the financial litigation. There's no money in that one. She will forthright and truthfully with the office and other law enforcement agency with regard to all inquiries made pursuant to this agreement, and will give signed sworn statements and grand jury and trial testimony. Yeah, so she gave up all her goods and got 11 years in prison, and it's from September 8th, 2020. Signed by her and signed by Red Johnson, counsel for defendant. And the facts of the case: from least June 17 to approximately August 19, she lived in West Virginia. I owned and operated Technology Management Solution and Tactical Solutions Group, information technology company, provided technical and technology consulting service, a wholesale merchant and provider of durable goods. They were listed as federal government contractors, but they never obtained any government contracts. And I offered various investment opportunities in and through TMS and TSG to my family, friends, and other members of the community. From approximately June 17 through at least August 19, I knowingly defrauded and obtained money and property from at least 12 individuals, one financial institute, and several other companies. I knowingly made false representation about my companies and my qualifications as experienced government contractors. I also fraudulently induced numerous people to invest in TMS and TSG and in phony government contracts that I claimed had been awarded to me. I made these false representations about the financial state of my companies and stated that The companies and myself were experienced government contractors, even though I knew that neither were ever awarded any federal government contracts, and neither company ever fulfilled or received any payment under any LPC of federal government contracts. Through my false and fraudulent misrepresentation, I induced at least 11 people to pay approximately $2.5 million for the purpose of investing in alleged government contracts that I falsely represented. The investors paid through personal checks, cashier's checks, and wire transfer. As charged in count 6 of the indictment, I fraudulently induced an investor to send me $500,000 through a wire transfer. This wire traveled through interstate commerce. Then you get, that's the good one. They can get you on interstate commerce. I failed to invest the investors' money as I promised, and I transferred some or all of the investors' funds to my personal and business bank accounts, and then used the money for personal purposes unrelated to investment. I used investor funds to make numerous purchases over $10,000, including when I withdrew over $37,500 to purchase a Shelby Cobra. At least one of my investors suffered a financial hardship due to my fraudulent scheme. So that's her plea agreement signed in 2020.
Well,
She ain't no good lady.
well, that's the thing is like kind of just like Murdaugh, you know. You start
Yeah.
to see that kind of stuff. Do you think that she's capable? You know.
But again, a fraud isn't often an unaliver, and an unaliver isn't often a fraud. So again, yeah.
Exactly. I don't believe it. I mean, I don't believe that it goes hand in hand. So.
Yeah, if they get to see this plea agreement, it doesn't say in conjunction with her husband.
Yeah, because didn't they drop everything because he was deceased?
I don't think she had a drug problem. She had a I want to be seen as being wealthy problem, because she spent it all on flashy stuff. Well, her husband seems to have done it. Are you eating cake or something? That sounded like you're banging a teaspoon into a saucer.
Oh yeah. That.
Yeah.
It's my fork in my bowl.
It's the Shelby, yeah, the remodel of it, 36,000. Yeah, let's show YouTube that we're live. Well, she only had a helicopter. She needed to upgrade to a plane. Sometimes they borrowed our plane. Oh, okay. Jim, you want to borrow my plane? I'll make it fast.
Sure. Yeah, but what, I mean, am I gonna have to fly it too? Or eating some egg salad. I know, super fancy, huh? And FD Food Fair is using the mustard you sent me. The like honey spicy mustard.
See, you don't have to fly it yourself. There's a pilot that goes with my plane.
Oh, that's even fancier.
Yeah, I take care of you. You know that.
It would be nice if we had a private jet to fly us over there, me and Iris. We could just sleep the whole time.
Well, we gotta get that $1 billion from Sarah Boone so we can buy a plane.
Yep. And then you'll have.
I'm gonna sue her because I was promised $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, he was deceased, so it's hard to put it on. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it. If they had said tons of clothes and jewelry, then I'd be like, maybe she did try and silence him. The thing is, all the things they bought is boy toys. I don't know how many of you ladies who love to sit in a Shelby Cobra, because they're really annoying to get into. They are really low down to the ground, and you have to crawl out of it. And other than diamond earrings, there wasn't really much woman-related stuff in it. Two motorcycles, ATVs. It sounds kind of like the idiot that lives with my daughter, what he would want. That Mike's hot honey Dijon.
Mm-hmm. It's tasty.
Jemima, get your head out of the gutter. I was just about to bite into a little chocolate cake. Well, that's why I sent a plane. Small town treehouse lawyer here. She may be a bunt cake, but that doesn't mean she's guilty. Doesn't mean she's guilty. Yes.
I don't know why that was so funny. Small town treehouse.
It's a mix of Dave and Ty. Yeah, and Iris, you know it. You would all of a sudden you hear the door open over the Atlantic Ocean, and Jamie says, "Oh, have you seen the view, Iris? Come look."
I would never.
Whose channel do you think you're watching, Jamie? This ain't Beard Meets Food over here. No, don't talk food.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, I have made enough Mexican jokes today, so I won't make anyone more about Iris stacking a plane full of presents. Yeah, that's all everything a boy wants. ATVs, motorcycles. I don't know who would drive a Dodge Ram. Probably someone who use a pump.
Mhm.
I'm a Camaro girl, not a Mustang in the world that I would want to get into. Have you seen the new electric Mustang? That's become a woman car in Denmark. It looks okay-ish from the front, and then you see the side of it. It looks like a Ford Focus or something. It's so sad.
It's so sad.
I argue that to some woman, those toys can reflect on you like, wow, you're also happy and well off that your husband can blow it on things he just wants. And yeah, but then what's the argument that the husband didn't know that she has had an excessive income? Because there's at least 100,000 in merchandise there.
All right, are there any matters that we need
I
to
watch
take
Beard
up
Meat
out of the
Food
presence of the jury?
every Sunday at 8 o'clock my time.
Your Honor, while Ms. Davis was on the stand, I neglected to move to enter State's Exhibit 2 into evidence.
All right, any objection, Mr. Richards?
No, Your Honor, and I neglected to admit 7 and 8, so I'm gonna do it now.
All right, any objection, Ms. Abel?
No, Your Honor.
No, they
Very
tried to
well.
make the
State's
back end
exhibit
look
number
like a
2
Mustang.
And the defense exhibits 7 and 8 are all admitted into evidence. Very well, bring in the jury, please, Taylor.
If you just join my Patreon, it costs $1 million to be a member every month. I'll be a billionaire soon enough then.
Heck yeah.
I could go on 2 trips to the US if I was a billionaire. So
You might-
I could hit both the middle.
2?
Well,
Oh,
okay, I could
wow.
do 3, an east, a middle, and a west.
Are you
trip. So,
sure? I mean, 2's a lot.
yeah, well, I'm saying if you made me a billionaire, I probably could swing it.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's possible.
I would still have to grift a lot to make it work.
Yeah.
I've driven a pink T-Bird, 55. Yeah, I could just, and I could, with that kind of money, I could get all the operas I need to beat the jet lag.
Mhm.
Just have to swing by Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Go visit the Lefty. Let's say, how about them Bears?
It's how about them Packers?
No, don't mention them. He hates the
No,
Packers.
well, that's what gets you kicked off his porch.
All right, will the state please call their next witness?
There's another Minnesotan.
Your Honor, the state calls Trooper John Hamilton to the stand.
Very well.
Well, welcome. I know, rage. Can't talk about them Packers in a bad way, but sorry, not sorry.
And of course, it caught fire and burned down.
If you'll raise your right hand, please, sir. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth,
Jeez,
and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
You may have a seat right there.
I love that this chat, we can talk politics sometimes and you can get a little, well, I hate you because of that. But bring in football, and this is 85.6% women. It'll start more fire than going into crusty panties
Well.
and say, hey, how about that Karen Reed chick? She's innocent, right? People will start fighting.
Over their team, yeah.
Yeah. Do we know the husband's profession? Which husband? The witnesses or the unalived?
Probably
The unalived was a contractor. The other one was a lawyer.
All right, Ms. Acorn.
Could you please state your name for the record?
John Hamilton,
And how are you employed?
West Virginia State Police.
And just for the jury's benefit, today you are testifying in your capacity as a civilian citizen. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you familiar with Mike and Natalie Cochran?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall how you met them?
Through football.
What sort of a relationship
Football.
did you have with them?
We were friends with them.
Were you relatively close friends?
At the time, I thought we were.
Just very briefly, did you and your wife invest in either of the Cochran's companies, TMS or TSG?
My wife did.
Okay. Do you recall what the outcome of that was?
As far as gaining money, losing money, is that what you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
We lost money in it, ma'am.
Okay. Does the date of February 6th, 2019 stand out to you for any reason?
Yes, ma'am.
And why does that stand out in your mind?
It's the day that I was summoned to their house by Natalie. She told me that Mike was sick and that he had a seizure, and if I could come help her get him on the couch.
And did you go to their house at that point?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall about what time during the day it was that she informed you that Michael was sick?
It was in the early morning hours, ma'am, maybe 10, 11, something like that.
And about how long did it take you from the time that you found out Michael was ill to get to their house?
Roughly 20 minutes.
What happened once you arrived at the house?
Once I arrived at the house, ma'am, Jonathan and Jason already had Mike up on the couch. They were still there. Natalie was there. I asked her how she wanted to get Mike to the hospital, if she wanted us to drive him, if she wanted to call an ambulance, or how she wanted to get him there. And she told me that
He's not fat enough to be a Canton cop.
she would let him sleep it off because he'd had a seizure.
And just to back up a little bit before we go on, who are Jonathan and Jason?
Those were her contractors who worked for her full time.
Did you take any action with regard to Michael at that point?
No, ma'am. That's whenever I called my wife. I asked her, I said, hey, I said, Natalie doesn't want to take Mike to the hospital. I said, see if you can come out here and get her to take him to the hospital.
And what's your wife's name, sir?
Stephanie Hamilton.
Were you still at the Cochran residence when your wife arrived?
Yes.
Did you observe her take any action with regard to Michael?
Yes, she, I'm not exactly what all she did do, but she also told Natalie that he probably needed to be seen, this and that, and we could get him to the hospital. We could she even mentioned Chris Davis's plane. We could fly him down there. And she just, once again, just told us that he'd had a seizure and she was going to let him sleep it off.
And you heard all of that with your own ears?
Yes.
Okay. And I think you already kind of touched on this a little bit. What did Natalie tell you happened that caused Michael to end up in the state he was in?
She said that he was in the kitchen and had had a seizure.
Have you ever seen him have an episode like the one that she described?
No, ma'am.
About how long did you stay at the Cochran residence that day?
It was for a couple hours at least, ma'am.
I mean, if that's true,
And
my brother-in-law used to have them all the
Before
time.
you left the residence, who was still
You'd
there?
just sleep
At
them
the
off.
time that you went to leave, who was at the Cochran residence?
I think it may have just been me and her.
Okay. And what led you to make the decision to leave at that point, since Michael had not yet been transported to the hospital?
She just said that she was just going to let him sleep it off, and he was just still laying on the couch, ma'am.
Did you ever see Michael alive again after that?
No, ma'am.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, cross-examination, Mr. Victor.
Just briefly, officer, what is your rank?
I'm a corporal.
Corporal. You're not in uniform today because you're testifying as a civilian, in a civilian capacity.
Yes.
You're still on active duty, right?
I'm sorry,
You're still
sir.
active as a police.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, let me ask you this. You said on direct that you've never seen Michael in a condition like this, right?
Never. I mean, just not in a seizure, sir.
Not on a seizure.
Yes.
But you saw Michael in the hospital on prior occasion.
Yes, sir. I
you?
did.
And that would have been in November of the previous year. So that would be 2018, right?
Yes, sir. It's November, sir.
What was he in the hospital for?
As far as I know, sir, he was sick, and they never knew what exactly was wrong with him.
Okay. And why were you in the hospital, sir?
Why was I there?
Yeah.
We went down to check on Mike, and actually me and Chris Davis and Jason actually spent the night with him because they said that he was.
Remember, he had 3 trips to the hospital a year before. So, with what? Something with back problems, something with moldy lungs, or something.
Mhm.
Maybe he was a person who had some conditions. We don't know. We haven't heard anything about it. I don't think she's going to testify. So he will probably try and infer a lot that, oh, he was so sick all the time and had seizures like heck. But I would, if I was the defense, I would bring on a medical expert to testify that insulin and anabolic steroids can induce seizures.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good, reasonable doubt right there.
Mhm.
Flailing around and this and that, and they're going to have to restrain him. So we said
Right.
we'd stay there so they wouldn't have to.
Okay. So were you an intimate friend with the Cochrans, or were you just friends through the Davises? How
Well,
was it?
we were friends through football, sir.
Okay. Football. Well, what football? Give me some.
Like miniature football.
Oh,
Like
miniature
yeah,
football.
midget league football, sir.
Oh, I see.
That's
Okay.
how we become friends with them,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. So in November of that year, of 2018, Michael went to the hospital twice.
Corporal.
right? That would be
Yes.
October 31st, you went to the hospital, right? You knew about it, right?
Yes.
What was wrong with him?
I'm not sure, sir.
Nobody knew, right?
Mhm.
Did he have a seizure? What did they say, to the best of your recollection?
What did they say?
What did they say in the hospital?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for hearsay.
All right.
Sustained.
Well, how did he behave? What symptoms did he have when you saw him?
Whenever I saw him, sir, he was asleep.
Okay. And I'm talking about October of 2018.
I don't know if I saw him that day or not, sir.
Okay. You saw him, however, in November of 2018 in a hospital.
Yes, sir.
Which hospital would that be?
I think CAMC, sir, or General,
Would
one of the
that-
two in Canal City.
In Charleston?
Yes, sir.
And what was his condition? What did he look like? How was he acting?
He was asleep whenever I got there, sir. He'd been sedated, I believe.
Okay.
And the next day, whenever he got up, he was talking and this and that.
He slept all day?
No, the next day, whenever he woke up, sir.
Okay, so he woke up the next day?
Yes, sir.
So he slept just like he slept here in the home of February in February of 2019, right?
But this night he'd been sedated, sir.
Okay. Well, you don't. Well, that's what they told you, right?
Yes.
Okay. And when he woke up, he was agitated,
Yes, sir. Down to hospital he was.
and he had to be held down, right, by you and Chris and.
That's
somebody
why he
else.
went there, sir. So they wouldn't have to restrain him, sir. Yes, sir.
And of course, at that time, didn't he tell you that he would never go again to a hospital?
Yes, sir. He did.
It was a waste of time.
Yes.
Did you know what kind of medication he was taking at that time?
No, sir. I don't.
And when he said that he was not going to go back to the hospital, he said to tell everybody that he was not going to be caught in a hospital again, right?
I don't remember the exact words, sir.
All right. It was not only a waste of time, but also waste of his money because that
Yes.
was expensive, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you went to the Cochran's residence in February of 2019, Michael was already asleep, you said?
He was on the couch, yes, sir.
On the couch. You don't really know what caused his condition, do you?
No, sir.
You don't know whether he was injected with something or whether he hit his head against the counter or whether he just collapsed, right? Or whether he just collapsed.
She told me, sir, that he had fallen in the kitchen
Okay.
and he had a seizure.
Okay. You didn't see his medical records from October or November of 2018, did you?
I never saw his medical records, sir.
So you wouldn't know whether his condition in 2018 was the same as in 2019.
No, sir.
Okay. Now, did you know about all the steroids that he was taking
No, sir.
or any substances that he was taking?
No, sir.
Was he a bodybuilder?
Yes, sir. He stayed very fit.
What did he do to stay fit? I mean, was he trying to participate in some bodybuilding competitions? What was he doing?
As far as I know, sir, lifting weights.
Lifting weights?
A lot of people in Argentina got that accent around 44, 45, 46. It must be something like that lady who woke up and spoke with a Chinese accent. It must have been some YouTuber.
Was he talking about participating in any kind?
You never heard that? I think
No.
she's a British lady and she speaks with a very racist Asian accent. And
Oh my
she had
God, stop
she
it.
had a brain tumor or something. She just woke up one morning and sounded like you would have Chinese people sound in old movies. That was funny. Yes, I called him Danny DeVito when I saw him too. He looks just like him.
He does.
I don't know, Mr. Universe competitions or anything of that kind?
Never.
Crystal, it's a fan of the guy with the little mustache from Austria joke. Don't think about it. It's
Told me that, sir.
Never.
yeah, there's an
Now-
entire city down there.
When your wife arrived at the Cochran's residence, she took all kinds of vitals of Mr. Cochran,
Right back.
didn't she?
I can't remember exactly what all she did do, sir.
Oh, okay, but you don't know the results or anything.
No, sir.
Okay. And your wife, I understand, is a paramedic, right?
She's a
Or-
physician assistant, sir.
Or physician assistant.
Yes, sir.
So she knows something about medicine.
Yes, sir.
Did she believe that Mr. Cochran had to go to the hospital?
Yes, sir. She also told Natalie to take Mike to the hospital.
Okay. Did Natalie mention anything to you about Mr. Cochran not wanting to go to the hospital?
Yes, sir. She did.
And you heard that before from himself?
Yes, sir.
You testified on direct that you lost in the business ran by Michael and Natalie. How much did you invest with them?
Sir, that was my wife. I had nothing to do with that.
Okay, so you personally didn't lose any money?
No, sir. That was my wife. She was the one that dealt with Natalie on that part.
Right, but would you agree with me that the marriage lost? The
Yes,
money?
sir.
Yeah. You don't know how much, do you?
I couldn't give you an exact figure. No, sir.
Okay, all right. Did you know Michael before the day he went to the hospital, or he had that seizure, or whatever happened to him in February?
Did I know him, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Did you see him the week before or a week before or 2 weeks before February?
I'm sure I probably did, sir, maybe.
Did he appear sick to you?
I do not remember, sir.
Okay. How about November or October, late October of 2018? Did he appear sick to you, or did he appear any maybe lethargic or in any condition that would display some type of illness?
I'm not sure, sir.
Okay.
I'm not going to give you a yes or no on that there because I really don't remember, sir.
Okay. All right. Do you know whether Natalie Cochran had any insulin in her house?
I'm not sure if Natalie, are you talking about on that day, sir?
Yes.
I am not sure if she did or not, sir.
Okay. And you knew the Davises, right?
Yes.
Obviously. You knew about the unfortunate fate of their son who had pretty serious diabetes.
Yes, sir. He's also has a pump, sir.
Yeah, he had a pump and he was using insulin, right?
Yes, sir. Through his pump.
And the pump and well, insulin itself, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know whether Natalie has ever had any of his insulin?
I do not know, sir.
Okay. Did you also know that Michael had a back problem?
I do not remember if he had a back problem or not,
Okay.
sir.
Were there any sports activities involving the adults that you and Michael participated in?
Not that I participated in, sir.
Okay. Do you know when your wife decided to invest in Michael and Natalie's business, who did she contact?
Who did she contact?
Yeah, about the investment.
Actually, I believe Natalie contacted her, sir.
Okay. Did she have any dealings with Michael?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Did you ever know about Michael's business, the investment business?
No, sir. I don't know which business you're talking about.
Did you know anything about his medicine intake?
No, sir.
Nothing about any steroids or anything, any other medication, legal or semi-legal?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, if I may have a moment.
What's semi-legal?
Did you visit Michael in a hospital after his back surgery? Do you recall that?
I don't remember him having back surgery, sir.
Okay. All right.
I think I don't know who's worse for this channel, Brandon or Bad Dog. But thank you so much, Bad Dog. I'm not gonna read that one out.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Farewell.
Oh, bad doc.
Just very briefly, Your Honor. When you saw Michael in the hospital in late 2018, how did that compare with the
Thanks,
condition you
Rach.
saw him in on February 6th of 2019?
As far as just his condition, ma'am.
Yes, the condition that you were able to observe yourself.
Well, on that right there, he actually woke up
Valhalla.
when we saw him back then.
And that leads me to my next question. Did Michael wake up at all while you were there on February 6th?
I think he woke up one time where my wife was talking to him because I think she said that she was going to take his temperature or something like that. And he opened his eyes and looked at her. And I think she said something like, "Don't hit me, Mike, so I'm going to take your temperature."
Okay. And that's the only time you're aware of that he woke up that day?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Anything further, Mr. Victor?
If I understood your testimony correctly, though, when you visited Michael in a hospital in November 2018, you didn't stay overnight with him until he woke up the next day, right?
Yes, sir. We stayed the night
you
with
stayed.
him. Yes, sir.
So it took him a whole day and the next Took
12,
him until
I'm
the
agreed.
next day to wake up.
I think we got there late the evening, sir. Maybe.
Marissa texted me and said, I am now on self-deletion watch. Please come help me, because she did the morning for me. And it was so boring. So we saw this one come up, and this has been quite good.
Yeah, it's more interesting.
Maybe 10 o'clock or
Way
so.
more.
And he maybe woke up the next day, maybe 8, 9, something like that, sir. I couldn't give you an exact estimate.
And you left the Cochran's home in February of 2019 at what time?
I don't remember exactly what time it was, sir.
So how many hours did you stay there?
Probably 2, 3, maybe something like
So
that.
of course you stayed longer with Michael in November of 2018
Thank you,
than
Brandon.
in February of 2019.
Yes, sir.
So you have no idea whether he would have woken up after 6 or 7 hours or overnight, or
Brandon.
how long it would have taken for him to wake up. It was actually in November that he took 6 or 7 hours to wake up, right?
Yes, sir.
So there's really no difference between his condition in November and February of next year based on how long he slept, is there?
No, sir.
All right, that's all.
Anything further, Ms. Eckert?
I just have one more question, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Mr. Hamilton, was it your testimony that when you visited Michael in the hospital in late 2018, that he was under sedation?
That's what was my understanding. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Anything, Mr. Vick?
No, Your Honor, thank
May this witness be excused.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, sir. You are
Thank you, Your Honor.
excused. Call your next witness, Ms. Acorn.
Can we approach?
Sure.
Oh, approach.
Have just
In late 2018,
Activities involving
No, sir.
while you were in late.
What did I do wrong this time?
What'd you
Members of
do?
the jury, I'm going to make up for yesterday. We are going to quit for the day, and that gives
Well, look
you,
at that.
a significant break, and makes up at least a little bit for the fact that we had to stay so late last night. At least you can get home and
No, it's a meeting with union reps, and it's not a hearing. It's a work meeting, so of course it's not going to be streamed.
time to watch Dr. Phil or whatever shows you enjoy. Please be careful. Please come back tomorrow. We need all of you. We've invested so much time and energy in this case, and we need everybody to continue on and maintain in your roles as jurors. Don't talk to anybody. Don't talk among yourselves. You can imagine you've seen dozens of cameras in the courtroom. It's going to be on TV. It's going to be on the internet. It's going to be in the newspaper. It's going to be on the radio. And please refrain from falling into a trap and watching something or hearing something about this case. If someone should try to tell you things about it, please explain to them the circumstance and walk away or get away from them.
You don't need to fade him out.
As I told you, you need to keep an open mind and wait till you hear everything. We have just started the case, and we have much more to go.
It's not Halloween. It's Fastelavn.
So have a good evening, and I'll have 2 boxes of donuts for you in the morning so that everybody can enjoy.
2 boxes of donuts?
And we'll have
Man,
some
he's
fresh
nice.
coffee for you as well.
Fresh coffee.
With that, you can go with the bailiff to your jury room and depart for the evening. We'll start at 9 a.m.
I like this judge.
He's so nice.
Yeah, juries, donuts and coffee. We don't even get coffee in Danish courts anymore. Well, we can take it at the reception when we come in. But today we used to get it in the jury
All
room.
right, are there any matters that we need to take up now out of the presence of the jury?
That's for the state, Your Honor. Thank you.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Very well, we will adjourn for the day.
Well, I have to say, way more interesting case than the other one. Or at least it's presented way more interesting.
yeah.
I can find a lot of reasonable doubt in this case.
I mean, I want to hear some of the medical stuff, but yeah, it's looking that way for me too.
Yeah, because what we've seen so far, he used some street pharmaceuticals to enhance his physique, and if they can get people in here to talk about that,
Yeah.
could be quite interesting.
Because there's young people who are quote unquote physically fit that drop dead all the time. It happens all the time. You know?
And for those who are missing it, they are still at the DNA lady.
Are you serious? You.
Blood not be distorted. You'd see, wipes and smears.
It's the same lady that was on this morning.
And the Blue Star, didn't you see wipes and smears?
Yeah.
I saw a lot of stuff, and
Yeah. I'm good.
yeah, and audio. That's always the biggest gripe I had when I'm covering a trial. If the audio is bad, I just want to go, because you're sitting here and you have to really concentrate, and it's bad.
Hmm.
Melissa is not guilty unless something drastic happens. Yeah. We need the medical. We need the ME, and we need to prove that
Yeah,
something
they
happened.
need to bring those doctors up that are going to say,
Yeah.
this is what we found and stuff like that. But yeah.
And Valhalla, don't blame Marissa. She couldn't help it that the case was bad. I thought the prior furry wanted beaver. Yeah, the furry we got in that Saturday, I think it's because of Diva that we all of a sudden got a furry audience. But they like the beaver. Imagine having, and if they go as late as they did yesterday, and you just had to listen to a lady who talked like this for 6 hours.
Hmm.
A lot of roid users will keel because their hearts can't take it. Well, State said during opening he was a healthy 200-pound guy, and turns out they forgot he was hospitalized a lot. I don't like straight-up lying prosecutors, because now I don't trust a word of them. I was watching, I don't know if any one of you have seen that Nick covers that CNN trial that goes on. Really, really also a boring case. But I saw that the judge flipped on CNN's lawyers today, because they straight up lied about what was said in court, and they claimed that the defendant was a liar, even though they knew what they claimed he was lying about wasn't true.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's heck. I don't blame Marissa. I would never. Beef is only with you, Valhalla, because you started it. My ex did steroids way before I met him, and he had to have surgery on his breast because he had was growing a breast. Yeah, that's another thing that can happen. But heart problems are really prevalent with, especially when you are, because they don't dose themselves correctly, because you can do the right. It's illegal, and I don't say anyone should do it, but if you go to your doctor and say, I don't care what you say, I will do it. Can you make sure my blood work is fine? And you go to your doctor and make sure your blood work, so you don't overdose with roids and stuff like that. It's more safe than if you just because a lot of people think you just have to hammer in as much as you can, and that's not really good for you. They covered that he had been at the hospital before, but again, we haven't heard any doctors. All of it is neighbors talking.
Yeah.
It seems they get all the financial stuff in just because the state has a theory of motive, but so far there's absolutely no evidence for said theory. It should not have been allowed. Yeah. Claiming that she kept it in the dark from him. Again, look at the list of toys that was bought. It wasn't women toys. Giggity. It was ATVs, it was motorbikes, it was a Shelby Cobra, and then a Dodge Ram. No, I really liked Valhalla's Dodge Ram.
Yeah.
Even though
and then
he threw firecrackers at me in the car. He's a bastard.
he did?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Fastelavn is just a few days before you come to Denmark. Sadly, you should come the weekend before. You can see all the cats being beaten at the square.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's
I would be able to witness this?
it's the Sunday before you come here.
Oh my goodness. Iris. Do you hear this?
The trials and tribulation of passing out before you are done skiing and your kids. What did I miss? What's the CNN thing? CNN is being sued for defamation from a former military contractor who flew people out of Afghanistan. They, according to him, lied about him overcharging people or something like that. So he's suing them for defamation and loss of income. I think I just heard part of what they claimed. It's like 16 or 26 million or something like that. They estimated he lost because of their lies, and now they claim that what he testified to was a lie. And I know the name of the lawyer from CNN, Axelrod, I think his name is. I think he's quite.
Axelrod.
And the judge said to him today that he had no credibility left with him because he lied so much. Both sides have been really misstating a lot of stuff. I need to go back up to see what Brandon said. I don't know how long he wants to go up. I can't see anything recent that had to do with what you were saying. I thought the prior furry wanted a beaver. The trials of tribulation of passing out. What does that have to do with a beaver? What doctor is going to agree to that? To do your blood work? You can do that in Denmark. I know people who have been on roids who said it to their doctor, and he said, yeah, well, it's better to make sure your kidneys doesn't step off. I won't recommend roids, and I, of course, is against it, but you can have your blood drawn just to check your numbers.
Well, you don't even gotta tell them you're going on roids. You can go into the doctor and just ask for like a full panel of blood
No,
work.
the people I know said to their doctor, well, I'm training for this, and I will be using it. So just to make sure I'm healthy. And they say, yeah, of course, it's better to be safe than sorry. So yeah. Where's your sound effect thing? Well, I don't think it's really working anymore because something happened. I at least can't hear anything. Is it playing, Jamie?
What?
Well, if it was playing, you would hear it because
Yeah, I
that
don't
was.
hear anything.
I can't figure out what the. It's fine.
Oh, for giggity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he hasn't done that in a while. I was just thinking.
No, but I can't. My stream deck won't work, so I have tried.
Your stream what?
My stream deck. It's a little electronic toy that my lovely chat paid for. Well, K Squared paid for it. Thank you so much, K Square.
Mm-hmm.
David Axelrod. Yeah, I think that's David Axelrod. CNN deserves
I know.
what they deserve.
That's why I asked him again. Hmm.
Yeah, that was I got such a shock. No, he didn't do anything. We just got in the truck and we were heading to a bar or something, and he just turned around and threw them right at my face. Mother effer.
Mahala.
No,
So mean.
that's
I
yeah.
gotta watch him.
I think he was sleeping with the dogs that night. Usually the stream comes out of that. The Stream Deck, well, it's a thing with programmable buttons on it, and normally I have my soundboard on it, but I don't know if I'm routing it through the wrong mic. I haven't changed it, but all of a sudden it don't play the audio anymore. So I'll have to figure out what to do. Did you know that Connecticut has mountains? Doesn't it have outliers of the Blue Ridge Mountains? Or is it the Catskills? I stressed Pete. Well, I stressed Pete a lot because it was the day after I saw that guy carry a snake around.
How was he carrying it? Like he was just carrying it like out in his hand, or did he have like?
We were
wrapped around
coming
his
home from
arm?
Dollywood. Everyone, if you have the time on the 5th and 6th of June, there will be a meetup in Knoxville where you can go with us to Dollywood, go around. Last time we spent a full day just talking to everyone. All the 6th, we will do a live stream where you, of course, also can participate. Maybe get a drink with us or two. 5th, 6th of June this year. Sign up. Come on. Let's go. But we're going home from Dollywood and we're driving down the street. And there's a guy just walking with a snake. And then he chucks it on someone else's front lawn. And then he walks back to his meth lab. Camper. Appalachians is in Connecticut. Oh. Is it your chair that ate it again, just like when it ate your thighs?
It's your chair, eat your pants.
Cool. You all should swing by, come down, hang out, and see how unfriendly Tennessee is, because it won't serve beer to a Danish guy.
I mean, I wouldn't either.
Why?
And I don't know. I'd want.
I'm a friendly drunk.
I'm not so sure about you.
Valhalla can vouch for me. I am not an angry drunk.
Hmm.
I'm very friendly. He had to pry me off him with my crowbar.
You're just giving hugs.
I hope to chuck a bevy with Baker at Dollywood, June 4th, 5th, or 6th. Well, Dollywood will be the 5th. And I think Dollywood is in a dry county, so probably not going to be at Dollywood. We're going to chuck that beer. Probably in, if you swing by, I don't know. The expert, I've told him he should get his behind on it and make some promos for it.
Mm-hmm.
I won't bring my passport to a bar because I would rather fly home than I would have one more beer. So I don't want to lose my, and it was only one arcade that wouldn't serve me. Everywhere else I was served on my driver's license. I just said it. No, I'm friendly. I become a little get a little yeah, I don't know. Baker gets handsy. No, I'm not. I actually just sit in a corner and just talk. Just like when I'm streaming. Love you, man. Don't you understand it, man? You're my favorite person in the whole world, man. Well, they needed ID to serve me beer anywhere. I had to show it at least once at every bar, but only one of them denied my driver's license because it's not an accepted form of ID in a bowling alley.
In a bowling alley. Get out of here with your acceptable forms of ID in a bowling alley.
Valhalla
Who do they
can
think
prove.
they are? Who do they think they are?
Valhalla went full Karen and said, "Oh, it's because he's a foreigner." And you should look at this lady, and I think she was half Mexican. She just stood there and thought, I've never ever had anyone use that argument against me before. I've used it multiple times. So she went with the no, my boyfriend is a foreigner as well. It's just like when Valhalla when Brandon says it's okay, I have a black friend. I can say that word. No,
Okay.
that's not how it works. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I would love to go to Dollywood and see everyone. I'm afraid to travel by myself. I'm a boomer. Well, go by and pick Jamie up and drive her down. Yeah, she was totally in shock. She was, but I normally used to get to use the race card. Did you ask her if her boyfriend had to bring his passport with him every time to drink? No, I didn't. Yeah. It's because liability. America is a wonderful country ruined by lawyers. That's the problem. Meet up in Nashville. What? My vacation is in July, so I won't be able to make it. Oh, too bad. Have I ever had Swedish fish? Yeah, of course I have Swedish fish. It's licorice with salt on it.
I mean, not here, but your kind is probably.
It's Swedish fish. It's a salty licorice. No, I don't want to bring my passport out because if I get drunk and drop my passport, I can't go home. And being 7,000 miles away from home is kind of a problem sometimes, especially because I can't fly. I would have to find a consulate in DC and get a passport. It would be a whole heck of a lot of a matter. So, oh, surströmming. No, that's not Swedish fish. Ugh. Legit just kind of sounds like a black. Well, Marissa, I can either choose to get drunk or have my passport. You can't have both. So my passport
Can't have
stays at home.
both.
And I have a passport card. We got those also. I don't know what a passport card is.
I don't know. I'm new to all this. I just got whatever I'm supposed to get.
Well, you probably it's the same with the spunk. You can get it in either salty or fruity. Probably the same with Swedish fish. Well, Old Forge Moonshine taste testing is also in Pigeon Forge. I should go. Yeah, there's actually quite a few. I should go moonshine tasting. Well, I have to figure out first to buy the tickets and if I'm going to Chicago. Jamie, can you drive to Chicago? Because that trip up to you, that's stupid 8 hours extra. Maybe I should just force you to go. And then I was looking at it, going to Newark or going to Chicago. That's like 2,500 Danish difference on that one. It's expensive to go to Chicago.
Well, I hope we get to go see Food Fairy and then I can get some more cookies. That'd be amazing. Or she can make me some meatballs. She was talking about meatballs one day. And she is the best.
Everyone has an international driver's permit, I think. It's international. I showed it to her and said, this is international. I can go outside and get behind the wheel in Valhalla.ram and drive it all over the US. No problem. But I couldn't get a beer. So, yeah. No, we get a passport and have a passport. Well, you should.
Mhm.
Yeah, Spunk. No, it was after we went out for dinner the first, on the Wednesday where everyone met up before we went to Dollywood the next day, and we hung out at an arcade. Well, before I go, if you can make it, we meet up under the big clock on the Central Station on Saturday the 8th, 10 a.m. in the morning. I'm getting Jamie early out of bed.
I mean, I'll probably be, who knows what this time zone's going to do to me. I might be up at all hours of the night.
Yeah, you're probably gonna get out there. Oonch, oonch, oonch.
Yeah, I'll be like, let's go to the disco.
Yeah. Take your Mass, do Inn still exist? Oh my God, there was so much. I didn't drink when I lived in Copenhagen. Going to that club, just seeing these neon sticks everywhere and people drinking more water than is in the Great Lakes. You kind of knew how they partied. Well, there will be a small problem with immigrations because I have to declare when I leave the country again. So, yeah. No one asks when you're in our countries. You just assume, but that's because we're not weirdos. We look at you and say, yeah, you're probably old enough. And if you're not old enough, you're probably okay with your parents. You're drunk.
Yeah. Food
Again,
Fairy. Baker, we need to go to Chicago. Baker said I can come. I have to come.
well,
Can you make us some cookies?
I would rather have you came into Chicago because me going up to you is 4.5 hours, roughly something. I don't know exactly where you live. So that would be 4.5 hours up away from my destination. So it's just it's a day extra I have to travel. And I thought if we met up in Chicago like a Saturday or something, Food Fairy could show us around and then I could drive south.
And then you can go, bye.
I don't know how far is it from Mo to Chicago. Maybe she can make it.
I don't know. I don't even know how long it takes to go to Chicago from where I'm at.
I don't know anything.
I don't know anything either. I drive around my little space, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Everything.
Because you live on the Devil Island. Yeah, that's odd. It takes an hour and a half by plane from Jamie. Yeah, well, she's probably not going to get on a plane for it. Because then she has to wait 4 hours at the airport.
Yeah, and it's more expensive. Well, I don't know. I have a truck, so who knows? I probably spend more on gas than a flight.
Well, I'll just tell you, if you think Bernie Sanders is too right wing, you will probably like it here in Denmark. Denmark could be doable for me too. Depends on what day though. It's the 8th of March. Yeah, you can make a ride along from all the people in Belgium and Holland. That could be cool. I haven't been drinking in Copenhagen in maybe 10 years. I love it when they said, "Oh, where are we gonna eat?" I don't know. Find somewhere. Last time I was out eating in Copenhagen, we ate at one of the tourist spots. So I'm probably gonna show you one of the food markets and just to show a different cuisine.
Cuisine.
You're gonna love your 58.6% tax rate. It is tempting because who wouldn't want to spend time with Jamie? I'll probably just be sitting in a corner and Jamie will say, "Oh, I show you Copenhagen. We're just going down here." And I'm saying, "Jamie, are you sure Nørrebro is the best place to go?" Yeah. Blågårdsplads, I heard about it.
What's this? Let's go over here. Baker's like, no, you shouldn't.
I said if Bernie Sanders was too right wing, you should come to Denmark. Let's just say we're a bit left.
4.5 hours.
I like a hole in the wall
Sounds
place,
about right.
best food. Well, we don't. If you want to go to a hole in the wall place, it's always check because you might get Montezuma's revenge because they're not the cleanest places. But I can take you where the food is cheap and they're very very friendly. All of them calls you boss when you order.
They call you boss.
Yeah, where's up, boss? What do you want
What's
today,
up,
boss? And you come in at 4 a.m. and you have to keep one hand over your eyes to. Yeah, I'll just take a kebab. That's fine. And
A
he's
kebab.
there's a bus. Pernilla, of course, because she's Swedish, drank in Copenhagen last year. Well, Jamie can't go to Boston. It's too far.
I'd love
Yeah.
to, though. I've always wanted to.
Boston.
Well, they have a lot of really cool historical buildings too. I like stuff like that.
We're left there. I eat in Mexico. That's called flavor. Well, I'll just, when you go to Mexico and every tourist looks at you and think, why isn't she having the Ring of Fire? Remember, all of the germs and stuff you have in your area, we don't have. So don't eat the salad out in our place. You can drink our water; it's no problem. But still, we have different germs. So, well, I'll take you some good places. We'll find something out. I have to take you out to get some hot dogs, some cake, and maybe some smørrebrød. We'll figure it out. That's no problem. Jamie,
What?
I have court in the morning, so I need to get to bed because it's 10 o'clock. I really wish I could do my morning shows, but I just can't do it when I have to sit in court and do financial crimes tomorrow. But we'll be back on this one because this was actually a good case. It was a good find I made. I totally say everything good to myself about it.
I pat myself on the back.
Yeah, I was a good boy. The rest of you should come back tomorrow. Tell your friends. We could be many, many more in here. It's been slow in the new year. We need some more people. So remember, come back tomorrow. Yeah, of course I did. No, we don't care about politics. So we think if people want to talk politics, we look at them like they want to talk religion, and we just walk away. I saved you from Marissa's trial. That's correct. But Jamie, 9 heures in the morning. 9 is 9 in French, as you more than anyone knows. We will be back a little bit before that if I'm out of court, or else we will be starting roughly at the right time. But I have court. It should be half a day, but courts, sometimes half a day is a whole day. It's not like me. I always finish early, not on time, but we'll figure it out in the morning. Jamie, I'm tired. I say stupid stuff. Tell me to get off.
Go.
What
Go to
unit
bed.
are you referring to? I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor. All right. 100.
100.
Because it is 100%
100%.
correct.
Objection, Your Honor.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All
right, I'm in love.
Go back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't have cared?
No,
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
no,
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
probably did. Everybody has.
So